Good evening, YouTube world. I'm your host, Paul Italia. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. What's up, Mr. Yee Yee? How you doing today, brother?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Thank you, thank you. I'm here and let's do this, baby. I'm ready to go.
So, Mr. Yee Yee and me had a big bet, man, and he lost. So I'm gonna let him know, man, that he had to shave this off and all this. And
And
tell
but
us the story, bro, real quick. What happened, man? What happened?
I was in front of the mirror and I was trying to, do my situation, and I tried to do something different, and all of a sudden I took a left turn and dead end. Boom. That's all I can say, man.
Well, I
It's
gotta
bad.
say, bro, I'm liking the new look, man. I think it's a fresh, new, clean look, bro. I like this look, man. Everybody in the chat, let us know what you think, man. You feeling Mr. Yee's look, man? I think he's looking smooth and he's looking like professional. I like it. I'm feeling it, bro.
my wife doesn't like it. Trust me. It's just
Tell her to give it some time, man. Maybe she has to sleep over there one night. You know what I mean?
hey, you never know.
There you go. Want to shout out to everybody in the chat. We got the regulars in the house. We got my man Richard from Canada. What's up, brother? How you doing? We
What's up,
got
Rich?
Show Us Your Junk. I love that name. Hello, what's going on? Hell yeah. We got a legend in the house. My man Kevin Hess, the Hessinator. What's
The
going on, brother?
Hessinator.
We got the man, the moderator, my man Drew in the house, holding it down like always.
We got JT Solutions in the house. What's up with JT and Jacqueline? What's going on over there?
Hell yeah. And yo, my man Ricky, have you seen what's been going on online, bro? My man Ricky has made World War III with them for whatever
Whoa.
reason. Did you see
Jab,
any of this? Did you see what's been going on this last
all
week?
these jabs, all these jabs, all these jabs, you know what I mean? And there's more than one way to say it, and just keep it real and just, bring it to the table. Come on, Ricky. What are you hiding? Come on, come to the table. We're here. We're waiting for you. Come on.
Yo, want to shout out my man Andrew. What's up, brother? How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. We got Jamie in the house. How are you, Jamie? We got my man Todd Lacewell in the house. What's up, Todd?
What's up, Three Kings with the 707 connection?
Hell yeah, we got Serious Game, Green Up Junk Removal.
Green up.
Hell yeah. So, guys, we got a great show set up for tonight. But before we get in and announcing our special guest, which I got to say, I am really, really excited about our guest tonight, bro.
Oh
Like,
boy, oh boy.
this is going to be a good one, man. This guy is an OG. He really knows his stuff. He came on the beginning of the week. We did a quick interview. Actually, it wasn't even. We were just coming on announcing something else. Russ popped on, and
It
he
got
just
real.
yeah, bro. He was just throwing out some great gold tips, man. And then it got spicy. We were talking about his little drama going on with Andrew Thompson and him and Ricky been going back and forth. But I'm looking really, really excited about this one tonight. And then next Tuesday coming up, we got another big one coming up. It's Dan Beal. And Dan is doing big things in junk removal. He is using the niche of furniture. And he goes around, he comes in with all these breakfasts, and he
The,
hits like 4 or 5 a weekend, and
the
he's making
furniture hustler. The furniture hustler. Pick it up, put it in the truck, and move it out the back door. Keep it going. You know what I mean? Recycle and get that money with the furniture.
I definitely like how he went with the niche with that. So we're going to be tuning in with him on Tuesday, and that'll be going down 8 p.m. East Coast and 5 p.m. on the West Coast. And then, of course, this Friday, we always got Forget About It Fridays is returning. And
Yes, yes.
we're not announcing the guests yet. I want to hold this one back, and because we might be adding a couple others on there as well. So tune in this Friday to see who the guests are going to be, but it's going to be a good one. And then we have a really, really big show lined up, and that is going down on Forget About It Fridays Unfiltered, June 13th, bro. Mr. E,
June.
mark that on the calendar, bro. We've got Matt Paxton, the guy from Filthy Fortunes. He is the star of that new show on, and Matt is going to be coming on, and we got so many great questions for him. I've been following that show from episode 1, so guys, you guys are going to want to tune in that day and kind of just have all your questions and anything that you want to ask. If you want to find out what really goes on behind the scenes and all that, we're gonna get into all that juicy stuff and everything. So
message us if you guys would like us to ask them some questions. If you need a question answered about the show, reach out to us, and we can make that happen for you. And I'm definitely glad that everybody's in the comments. Is that Mr. Yee Yee? And yes, it's Mr. Yee Yee. I'm just a little light faced right now, but
we like it. What do you guys all think? I want to hear about it. What are your old thoughts? Because I like the look, man. And shout out, we got Denise, we got Sarah and Vinny from Load Runners in the house.
Yes. The Mexican with the Italian name.
There you go. There you go. Powerhouse Junk Removal in the house. Trinity Junk Removal.
JB Hauling and Junk Removals in the house.
We got my man Cisco, OG, 28 years in the game. Always spitting an amazing game over here.
Repping that 916.
Hell yeah. So, well, guys, it is time to announce today's special guest, guys. We got the man, the infamous Russ Burry, coming in from Rochester, New York. He is doing it big. He owns A+ Junk Removal. And just as we bring him on, he gets a phone call. And just so you guys know, every time it goes black on the screen, that is the money calling into Russ's phone. And that's it. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
3 times.
Oh.
What's up, Russ? How you doing
today, brother? What's up, Russ?
I'm tired, man. I ain't even gonna bullshit. It's been a long week. It's been a real long week.
Making that money though, right?
Yeah, I mean we're doing pretty good. I think we're up to like 15 or 16 grand already this week. So it's been
today's only Tuesday.
It's been a busy week.
Very nice, bro. Very. So we want to start at the complete beginning, bro. We want to learn, how did you come across junk removal, and what were you doing before junk removal?
So I owned a gutter cleaning company for 20 years, and I was doing that. And then I worked as a server at the most popular restaurant in town. It was one of the top 5 barbecue places in the country. So I was always working, 12, 14 hours a day. Not a big deal. My mom in 2018 was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoma, which is stage 4 cancer. It was unfortunately at a 5% cure rate. If you had B-cell lymphoma, it was 95% curable. So I knew that it wasn't going to last very long and that I had to clean out her house. So I actually called 1-800-GOT-JUNK. They came over, gave me an estimate, and I was just like, you're out of your fucking mind. There is no way I'm paying that. And I had
curiosity, what was the estimate that they gave you?
I think it was like $7,600 or something. It was over $7,000. I mean, this was 6-7 years ago, so I don't want to say the exact number, but I want to say it was 4,700, 4,800, something like that.
So how long have you been in the game doing junk removal?
Yeah, so my mom, I'll go back to that real quick. My mom got diagnosed in 2018. I told my wife in April of 18 that we should start a junk removal company. I called them. They were ridiculous. I called 3 other companies. They never called me back. And I said, we can do this. And we had 2,500 gutter cleaning customers a year. So we already had realtors, investors, and everything like that. So I told my wife, I was like, we should start this. And she was like, no. And for 6 months, she said no. And then one day I was just like, we're going to do a big gutter cleaning job. We won't be back till 4. We're leaving early. Okay. So she called me around 4 o'clock and she was like, what time do you think you'll be home? And I was like, like 11, 12 o'clock. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, I'm in Philadelphia and I just bought the truck. And she's like, no, you didn't. I was like, yeah, kind of did. Chris is with me. We'll be back in about 6 hours. And that's how I started it. My first pickup was September 12th, 2018.
Let me ask you this. So you were now done with the gutters, or this is a new service you're adding on?
Yeah, so I started with gutter cleaning, and I always kept that business because, we were making 6 figures doing that. So I always kept that business as kind of like the cash flow to fund this. So I was at an advantage over a lot of the newer people because I had money coming in, and because I was serving at night, we always made, enough money that I could have a lot of fuck off money and investment money and stuff like that. So that's kind of how that worked. And then in 2022, it got to the point where I couldn't run both of them. And I went to my guys and I said, there's 3 options. I close it and you come work in junk removal, which they do not want to do. I said, I sell it to someone who may or may not keep you. They're likely going to fire you, or I'll sell you the company. And they opted to buy it. So I sold that company for over 6 figures to them. And then now they still do it 3 years later.
Wow. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
when you first started off and you went and got the truck, what truck did you start off with?
I actually went to TA Trucks in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I will tell you, Tom, if you're listening to this, you literally build the absolute shittiest fucking trucks. I'm no one buy a truck from TA Trucks. That guy is a piece of shit. Anyway, so I went down there
Let me
and
just
bought
ask
it.
you. So, is TA Trucks? Do they have anything to do with junk removal, or this was just somebody local around your area?
No, he builds junk trucks. That's what his main thing is. He'll take used chassis and put bodies on them, or he'll take new bodies or new chassis and put bodies on them. But he sells new trucks, and he never primed the body. I've so far on those trucks, I just spent $1,800 on one to re-weld half of the brakes. I have another one where the door's fallen off. The paint flaked off in 8 months because he never primed the body. I've replaced the wiring on every truck on the body. I've replaced both pumps. I've replaced both motors. Every switch, the tarp arms broke off the side because he uses such thin metal. And the trucks that he builds are meant for the South, not the North. So
Russ, have you ever owned a dump trailer or a trailer
no,
for junk removal?
never. I this is how I look at this, right? So my goals were never to be an owner operator. My goals when I started this, I said maybe I can make $10,000 a month. Like that was my original goal. And I said, if I can do that with gutter cleaning, then I'd be over 350 grand a year. That'd be great because my profit margins were like 70% on gutters and 50% on junk. So I mean, we were doing well. And this took off. I was not expecting this at all. So yeah, that was a mistake.
So when you first started this business, did you jump like right into like leads, or how did you start to get your name out there?
So I started in September and I knew I wasn't going to be able to do much because October and November were my busiest months with gutter cleaning. So I didn't start out with advertising on Google and all that stuff. I had the website made. We posted on Craigslist a lot. I was usually 2 to 3 times on Craigslist. I reached out to every real estate investor, every real estate agent that we used, and I was like, "Listen, we started this new service." They had been with me for years doing all their properties, so it was a natural fit. They knew that I was a good service business. So that's how that started. And then in January of 19, I started Google Ads. And I think one thing that people don't understand is if you're in a small market, you can have a smaller budget. But when you're in a bigger market, if you want to even attempt to compete, you have to spend money on ads. So my first year total advertising ad spend was $50,000 on Google. I started with $4,000 a month. Again,
Okay,
I'm
now
at I,
hold on. Let me break into this. So you did them yourself. You
no.
started. Okay, so
No.
who helped you out with Google Ads and all?
Yeah, so I was one of JRA's very first customers, and I have been with JRA now for 6 years in Rochester. I do use somebody else in Florida. I use Steve Nunnally in Florida. He's very good too. Either one of those guys are great, but Shane and Lee have always been good to me, and I am a very loyal person to people who take care of me. I will not leave them. So it doesn't matter who comes at me and I've been offered to have them do it for free so that I would just push their name, and I just won't do it. Like you're talking about $800 to $900 a month that someone was going to give me for free just for me to be able to push their name, and I said no. I don't need the money. I don't want the money, and I'm more loyal to the people that have taken care of me, and they've been great to me the whole time. So I have nothing bad to say against JRA. They're very good at what they do, but everybody else has their own people they like. So
Okay, so now where you made the decision to go with Google Ads. What
yep.
made you make that decision? Was it that business wasn't, you weren't picking up more organic business anymore? Were you maxed out with organic leads and all?
No, it was more. I'm one of those guys that look to the people who are doing it, and I want to see what they're doing, and I'm obsessed about it. Like I stalked those franchises for months before I even started it. I used to watch their online booking scheduling. So Got Junk got away from it, but Kevin Hess will probably know about this. They used to have their schedule that you could click online and which hours you wanted to, pick and what appointments they had. And when I first started with them, they were booked 2, 3 days out. And within a year, they were booking the same day. So it was one of those things that I watched what they did and I kind of mimicked it. It's the same way that I look at most things. If I'm going to start a business, I want to watch what the people who did it, what are they doing? Because if they're doing it, especially a franchise, it works. So if I'm watching someone do Google ads and it's the biggest franchises in the country, then I know I should probably do Google ads too. So it was just kind of one of those things where I watched what they did and I just kind of replicated it.
So
Now,
did
how?
you
Sorry.
go ahead, Paul? Go ahead.
How long was it that when you first got in there? What was your budget like at the beginning with the Google ads, and what was like Google ads back then? Was it a lot cheaper? Was it like the popular thing for everybody to do?
Yeah, there was no Google guaranteed. So the only way that you could get on Google at the top was ads. Now, I also did Angie's List, and I know a lot of people shit on Angie's List. I don't like them right now, but back, 7 years ago, you could do well. I would spend $1,000 on Angie's List and get 6 to 7 thousand back in revenue, and then I was spending $3,000 on Google, and I was getting back about 5 to 6x that. And that's because at the time when I started, Got Junk was the only one here. I didn't have any other franchises here. I was fortunate that I got into it when I did. It was pre-COVID. It was a year before COVID. So it gave me a year to learn. And then when COVID happened and everybody just overnight became rich and decided that they were going to live like Elon Musk and just spend money and buy houses and shit, it was a huge benefit to us. And if you ever look at like the way that most of the companies grew, they grew during COVID, because you were an essential business. No one else could work. Everybody had to sit there and clean out their houses. And then Zoom happened. And then what happened after that? As soon as Zoom happened, you turned around and lost all of the offices. You know what I mean? Oh, shut up, Ricardo. I don't even want to talk to you. Just shut the fuck up,
So
Ricardo. Anyway.
so Russ, when you first started, did you have a big crew? Was it you by yourself or?
So the way that it worked out, and ironically, when I started my gutter cleaning company, my best friend I didn't even know him at the time. We worked in a restaurant together, and I just happened to be like, hey, man, you want to come help me hang a gutter? He was like, yeah, sure, fuck it, I'll do it. So I said, all right, cool. And he was my first gutter cleaning employee. And then I hired his brother and his brother's best friend, and they stuck with me for 7 years. And they're all way more successful than I am. And then he was working for a company, and he lost his job about 2 weeks before I started. So I was like, well, fuck it, just come work with me. So he actually helped me start my junk removal company. I don't know if John Amico's in here, but he's my best friend, and he's been my best friend for 20 years, and I love that guy. And so he helped me. Plus, I had my gutter cleaning guys. If I ever had to have a big job, I could just pull them over and help. So I had, 4 gutter cleaning guys plus my best friend and me. So I started with 6 people that I could get to if I needed it. So again, I was fortunate because I came from a service business and I already had employees that I could move around. Whereas new people, they're not going to have that. It's going to be very hard to replicate what I did, only because I was fortunate enough to have, a 6-figure income. And then I was fortunate enough to have the guys that if I had an 8-truck job, I could do it, versus
now, when you got into that Google ads and all, how long did it take to get that 5 to 6x return? Was that like pretty instant, or was it like 4 or 5 months in before you figured out everything?
No. So they, in a small market, Google ads works real well because your competition's low. If you're talking like LA or Missouri and you got 15 other people up there, then it just becomes who has the bigger balls and the bigger pockets, JT, you're right there, brother. So if you have a lot of money, you can buy yourself to the ads, and I've known people that have had people try to challenge the top spot on Google ads, and they just went ahead and just made it $150 a click, and you're done. You have no shot. You will never show up. You know what I mean? And that's more of a lesson being taught to you. Like, you want to try to compete with us and you want to shit talk us? Well, no problem. I'll just go ahead and make it a $10,000 a month budget, and you're never going to show up. I'll just outbid you every time.
Yep.
And then you burn their budget out because they're trying to compete with you. And then what happens is now they're gone. Now they drop down to $40 and they still don't show up because you're at 90, so it's, but when it started out, the first month you have no reviews. So you're really at a disadvantage. So when I was new, I always had to be a lot cheaper than Got Junk. Like I was $150 a truck cheaper than them because I have no reviews. No one's going to call me over them. They've got 3,000 reviews. I got 0. So you can't, one thing that, I heard somebody in the say something about reviews don't matter or you don't need a lot of reviews. And
Isn't that that's one of the most important criteria for getting ranked, right?
well, I mean, it helps with your GMB and ranking, but the bigger issue is let's say that I'm in your market, Paul, right?
Yep.
And you show up or I show up, you've got 1,500 reviews and I've got none, right? And Yee calls and says, I need some junk removal. And he looks and he sees me with 0 and you with 1,500. Who the fuck is he going to call? Right. So you're not even going to get the calls for free on GMB because you have no reviews. You have nothing to stand on. The higher the reviews you have, the more you can charge. So if you have 1,200 people who have reviewed you and said that he's professional, he shows up, he's affordable, and someone goes and looks and goes, oh shit, 97 people of these 1,200 said he's affordable. He's pretty good. Now he turns and looks at someone with 50 reviews. Well, who are they going to call? Right. So, your reviews do matter. The higher the reviews, the more leverage you have to charge pricing. The lower reviews, you're fucked because you have to lowball it in order to get a review,
Let me ask you, are you a review guy? And if so, what is your process to get the reviews?
Yeah, so we've changed it over the years. When we first started, I'm never the owner on a job unless like now it's like the realtors know me or investors, then yeah. But even if it's like a customer out of the wall, I'm never the owner on a job. And the reason is because some people think that because you're the owner, you can negotiate the price better. And if I'm an employee, they're not going to argue with the employee as much because there's procedures and rules and there's a price list that they have to go by and all that shit. So I was never the owner. And it was just, it's one of those things like when you do it, I used to tell everybody, look, my boss is running a contest. And basically what it is if you leave a review, he doesn't care if it's good or bad. He wants to know if we suck. He wants to know if we're doing good. All you have to do is leave a review. And for every review I get a 12-pack of beer on Friday. Now, I got to tell you, I almost didn't make it to work on Monday because I had 4 12-packs of beer in the last 3 days, but I made it anyway. It's a joke, right? But anybody who you're doing a job for wants to help you get on the boss. You know what I mean? I know Got Junk here gives $25 off their price every time they leave a review. And my shitty ass people here are actually doing it for the husband and the wife. So if the husband leaves one and the wife leaves one on the same job, they get $50 off. And if you ever go to their reviews, you'll see the same last name on the same day, both saying the same thing. So it's a slick way to do it. But, a lot of people have done it that way. But I always said, hey, we're having a contest. Then I got into Chirp, which is a automatic texting app. And what would happen is as soon as the job was done, it would automatically text them the review link that said, hey, how you doing? How did we do? Please leave a review, right? And more people would do that because it was a text message. The other thing that I did when I started was I used to tell people, hey, do you mind if I just text you my link and you can leave a review? Yeah, no problem. And you just do it from your phone. And you, thanks, Denise, you kick ass. You just copy it and paste it and then text it to them yourself. You don't need any specific one to do it. So you can do that. But now what we use are the Google tap cards.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I know Kevin Hess has got some, Adam's got some in the chats. There's a bunch of people that have these, and these are really easy. All you do is you just say, hey, listen, how did we do? I actually wrote a script out for someone. I think it was Adam. And basically it was like, hey, how did we do? Hopefully we exceeded all your expectations. You did. Oh, that's perfect. Would you mind, my boss is having a review contest. Would you mind leaving us a review, good or bad? Doesn't really matter. It takes 1 second. If you have your cell phone, I can literally just take this card and tap your phone and it'll take you 3 seconds. Oh, I'll do that. Okay, perfect. What I'll do is I'll tap your phone. I'm going to go finish the receipt or the invoice up and I'll be right back. Boop, tap the card, go finish it. They're doing it right on site because they have to see you one more time because you have to bring them the invoice or you have to text them the invoice, right? So they're more likely to leave the reviews on site than they are to ever get a text or an email.
And Denise says, Ricardo says reviews don't matter, laughing out loud.
Yeah, well, $45 fridges will tell you that.
Yeah. So yeah, Ricky's in the chat right now.
Right.
He was saying some comments back and forth. We're gonna address all that. So Ricky or Andrew, if you're in there, just hold on a little while, and we're gonna do a whole segment at the back end. And I know he's got a couple of things he has to say to you guys and all. But guys in the chat, if you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat right now, Mr. E. Keep an eye on that chat and let me know if there's any good ones. Definitely want to.
Absolutely, Russ. What's the total count right now of your reviews on both Florida and Rochester? Right? You said.
Yeah. So Rochester's at 1,205 right now.
Nice.
Florida's at 185 right now, and I had my original GMB suspended thanks to some folks.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Trust
So that one actually had 24 at the time, so I would have 209 in the first.
Why did you get suspended?
They don't tell you. They will never tell you. Google doesn't tell you anything. And I'm not going to get into that because there's a lot of shitty people in the junk removal business. So I'm not going to explain any of that. So if anybody wants to figure that out, they can find that out on their own. Absolutely. I'm not going to tell you how it can be done, but I can tell you that it happens daily, and it's not Google doing it. So just that's all I'm going to say.
It's a lot of competition doing it. It's a lot of, I'll say it. It's a lot of hating in the game, and we can all eat, and it is what it is. I experienced a little bit of that myself.
Yeah, they do it, but I'm not going to tell you how they do it. I know how they do it, and if I really wanted to be a dick, I could go and do it to anybody I wanted, but I don't. And it actually got suspended for 2 months this year, February and March of this year. I had no GMB in Florida. And so my sales, we beat last year by like hundreds of dollars, and I had no GMB. I had no reviews. I had nothing.
Yeah.
What do you do? Are you just doing Google reviews or also other platforms? Are you doing Yelp? Are you doing anything else? Trustpilot or?
No, I don't do Yelp. I have Yelp reviews. I think, and the reason I don't do Yelp reviews is because they'll leave, if Yee doesn't like me and he leaves one negative review, they'll leave it up. But if Paul loves me and it's the only review he's ever given me, they don't show it. So I don't like Yelp at all. I won't give them any money until they take my 28 recommended reviews and put them on there so that I'm not just have 8. I've got 34, so I don't do Yelp. Facebook, I do. I think I have like 86 or something on my Facebook page in Rochester, and then I have like 6 or 7 in Florida. I don't really follow it. And then on Angie's List or Home Advisor, I had 140 in Rochester before I stopped using that.
What's your number one tip for me for Google?
Well, it depends. I'll tell you what you should be doing, not just Google. Obviously, everybody does Google My Business. Obviously, you add pictures, answer all your reviews, which, by the way, I did a little research on, and some of those gurus who talk about how they're so good on Google never added more than 20 pictures and never responded to a single review in 3 years. But they're somehow the expert on this. I don't understand it, but
yeah, they work for
fuck
Google.
Do I know. But yeah, when it comes to GMB, you want to take pictures of the stuff where you are, because every picture that you have on your phone it has tagging built into it from wherever your picture is. So if you're in LA and you take a picture in LA and then you go to some other part of LA, whatever the name is, Timbuktu, you take a picture, the phone knows where you're at. When you upload those pictures, that all that data is in the background, so that will help you populate through maps, SEO, searches, junk removal near me. If you come from like Venice, Florida, which is 15 minutes up the street from me, if you take a lot of pictures in Venice, then you're more likely to show up there because Google knows, oh, he services Venice. He's got a lot of pictures in all these parts of town. He's obviously there all the time. You know what I mean? That's why you take the pictures on your phone and you upload them from your phone. Don't upload them from your computer, because that doesn't have any of that. Your phone has your location on. So
Russ, what do you think about YouTube helping your business? Because there's a lot of people out there who do YouTube videos, and they say that YouTube does everything for them, and they have a certain amount of YouTube videos that's why they rank high.
So you're talking about Ricky's new
Oh, whoa,
video,
whoa,
man, and
whoa, whoa,
you
Well,
know
whoa,
Ricky was,
whoa, whoa,
he was
whoa,
talking towards JT and
whoa.
them, you know, about how JT and them, their main platform and funnel is Instagram, and he was kind of like clowning them in a way, saying that that's so stupid. The Google, it works with YouTube, and YouTube is the #1 place to get jobs and all that. So we wanted to hear like what your thoughts are on that.
if YouTube was the #1 place to get jobs, you would have found at least one of these gurus in the groups to tell you how to advertise on YouTube so that you could get jobs, because they would take your money to put your ads on YouTube, right?
Mhm.
So you can put ads on YouTube if you want, and it's going to be, obviously to your area. But I don't know enough about YouTube to tell me if it's going to work in rankings or SEO or any of that. I'm assuming if you do, you'll end up going higher in the rankings so you can get some organic leads. But I don't think people are going to YouTube and going, oh, who does junk removal in Rochester, New York? I don't think that's a YouTube thing. That's more like, I want to get into junk removal. Who does it? So let me just search junk removal. I personally, and again, I don't have the experience in it to say 100%, but my opinion is that nobody searches YouTube to find a plumber, an electrician, any of that. So I wouldn't waste my time trying to use YouTube as the source. I think a lot of people do it to have their names show up and more people look at them and get subscribers. The more subscribers and videos, the more money you can make on YouTube. So I think YouTube is more for that, but I don't think it's for search. I mean, Chat GPT in the next 6 months is going to overtake Google in searches. You can do it on your phone right now, and it'll literally tell you who the best junk removal company is in any of the markets
I,
that you're
I
in.
think I think the way to use YouTube, Mr. Yee, for what you're saying for SEO purposes for your business would be, like when you look under your business name. So say you look under Forget About It Junk Removal, and they come up with the questions under there for Google, like,
Yeah.
what is their price or something. Well, you
Mhm.
go under there and you look what those questions are. Now go make videos with those in the title answering those, and
Right.
that will trigger the keywords and the SEO, and this way if anybody ever puts in any of those questions, your YouTube video will come up with
Did
that.
did you say Trigger or Freddy Cougar?
Be
I'm
careful, you say his name
I'm
3 times, he's
I'm
gonna
just
appear.
saying.
Be careful.
I was just
Um,
trying to clarify that. That's all.
But we got to catch up. We got a couple of questions in here, and one's
yeah.
from Denise. She says, Russ, what advice would you give to me, a black female starting out in this business? I have a full-time job that pays extremely well. I just want to get out of the rat race and make my own schedule.
Well, I want to first of all tell you, Denise, that you will never make your own schedule. That very line right there is going to tell you that you have a very big uphill battle, because when you start, you're not going to make your own schedule. Your customers will make your schedule for you. You want Friday off and $1,000 job comes in, you just had your schedule remade because you're not going out to do whatever you wanted to do. You're going to do that $1,000 job. So I think if your goal is to just go out and find a replacement for a well-paying job, understand that your well-paying job is half the hours that you're going to put into owning a business, right? You have to replace your income. Now, I don't know your income. Let's just say it's $100,000, right? In order for you to make $100,000 in EBITDA earnings to bring home 100 grand in junk removal, you're going to have to sell 225,000, maybe 200, and you'll bring home 100, right? So I wouldn't necessarily get rid of your well-paying job and just say, fuck it, I'm going to go do junk removal. I can't speak to race because I'm not neither one of those things. I'm not black and I'm not a female, so I can't tell you how to go about using it. I'm sure you can have an advantage over a lot of people being a minority and being a woman-run business. I would push that, hey, minority female owned or something along those lines. Go to Chat GPT and just ask them how to describe your business. I'm a black female. I own a junk removal company that's called blah, 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 blah. What's the best way to describe me as the owner? I like this, this, this. And you can it'll spit out your description in 2 minutes. That thing is way smarter than me. So, but, start off small. Don't work the weekends, work at night. A lot of people, they can't work weekends because, guys like me who are booked on the weekends, Once our trucks are full, we can't do anything because we can't get to the dump. That most places don't have the dumps open. If you're only working on the weekends, you're going to have the ability to pick those jobs up on Saturday and Sunday. And then you can start taking the money, putting it off to the side and holding on to it so that you can start getting enough income on the weekends that you can at least match or be close match to your full-time job. The other thing with a full-time job is you're going to make $100,000 a year. It's predictable. You're going to know exactly how much money you're making, so you can know exactly how much to pay your bills with, right? In junk removal, that doesn't work. In January, we wrote 60,000. This month, we'll write 100. My bills are set the same, whether it's in January or it's in May or June. So there's months that you go through where you just make payroll. You just make it. Or in the case of the last 3 months, you didn't even make enough because the economy is so bad that you've had to go and rely on credit cards to get through. Now, what'll happen is in the next month, I'll pay all those off. But that's just kind of the way it works in junk removal. If you had if I had $150,000 job to start, I never would have got into this. I'd never even would have thought about it ever. I would have took the benefits, took my 5 weeks vacation, my Roth 401k, and just
Is
been working
somebody
for the
got
man.
music going on in the background or something?
No, that's my Florida phone ringing now. So now I've got that phone fucking going off in the corner.
I didn't know what was going on for a
Well,
minute
hopefully
there.
you have like an AI answer machine that will take care of that phone call for you if
Yeah, most Florida phone calls at this hour are all spam. So
yeah.
I got to also, I just want to throw in one more thing for
Yeah.
Denise. And that was because I'm kind of at the beginning stages. So just like you said, Denise, you're always gonna just be on call. It's like working for the fire department when like you never know when that next fire is, but you always got to be ready to make that move. That's kind of what it is at the beginning, and especially like that first month or two when you don't got like regular jobs, you're not scheduled anything beforehand, so you're just on call anytime, any day. Like I would get a call like on a Monday or a Tuesday, 9:00 at night. Boom, I'm ready. I'm jumping right on that at the beginning and all that because that's just another person you're throwing in the Rolodex, building that client list up there. So,
and I think gotta eat, sleep, and shit this junk removal business.
Yeah,
you do. It's not a part-time thing.
Here. He says, Rictardo's dumb new video, don't pull all your eggs in one basket, then proceeds to put all his eggs in YouTube. And he says, also, he was insinuating that boosting posts on Facebook and Instagram was dumb because Google gives favor to YouTube, which isn't relevant to boosting posts internally on Facebook or Instagram.
So here's the thing, okay? I'm going to give you this real quick. Everybody in here talks about Google, right? What people have to understand is you have to diversify from just Google, right? So you can't just use Google and expect that this is just going to pump $1 million into you or $200,000 a year. You can't. So there are advantages to boosting posts. You can do it very quickly. You can do it long term. You can do videos. You can do pictures. Whatever you want to do. I don't know anything about Instagram. I look at Instagram as this is my fake world. Look how great I am, and that's not the way it is. So I don't know anything about Instagram. I think my Instagram for my personal has been like 2 years since I posted something, and the business one has been at least 6 months. I do not use Instagram, so I can't speak to it. But Google, you can't just expect Google. The one that everybody sleeps on, and I would highly recommend anybody who's listening to this, you're going to go to Bing.com. Okay. And everybody in here is going to go, who's Bing? Right. Well, Bing.com is the second largest search engine in the country. Right. They own about 26% of the search, if I'm not mistaken. And so what happens is the way that Bing and Google work is Google owns all of the search algorithms and all of that stuff. They lease it to Microsoft. So when you go to Microsoft in Bing.com, you make the same exact profile as you do in Google. Right. So now you have everyone who searches on Google is going to find you, and anybody who searches on Bing is going to find you. And some people will say, well, why are you pushing Bing and all this other stuff? And it goes back to what I told you earlier. If you go and look on your Bing.com right now, and anybody can search this, I don't care where you are in the country, anybody can look at this. Bing.com and type in junk removal near me, and you tell me if the franchises are on Bing.com.
1-800-JUNK, first thing.
Right. So do yourself a favor and realize that they know way the fuck more than all of us combined. They have data from 150 company or franchises in different countries. They know the search terms, the volume, the day that they call. They know everything. So if they know that to put something on Bing, you probably should do it too, right? It's the same thing I said
Russ,
earlier about Google
it's
Ads.
any platform or directory you could get that on. You're just adding to your SEO, and why the hell not? You know,
Right.
the way I look at it is throw everything you can at it. You know what I mean?
Well, the other one too that people don't use is Apple Maps. Apple is on every iPhone. It's the biggest search engine for pretty much every directional thing. You can go to Apple Maps and you can make the same thing on Apple Maps. So now you're on Apple Maps, which has got the most amount of phones in America. You got the first and second search engines. A couple other things that a lot of people can do is they can go to a website called Yext. It's yext.com. It's $499 a year. And what they do is you give them all the information for you, and they will literally go to the top 75 search engines, which is Yellow Pages, Bright Local,
I
all of
got
them.
one. I got one that does like 500. I know what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
did one with Google, and they go across the whole computer,
Yep.
and they make sure every
Everything's
single
the same.
number, every
Yep.
address is the exact same. And you're going to be
Yep.
surprised because you'll find things, and you'll be like, "How did that phone number get up there?"
Yep.
But they'll fix everything because I
Yep.
had that with the tracking numbers. I listened to everybody at the beginning, and I went and did the different tracking number on my truck, and different tracking number for everything. So now Google's looking at it as like you have 3 or 4 different company phone numbers. You're confusing the shit out of them. That was the worst thing I could have did. And one of the Google people that seen that was like, "You got to fix this right away, man." Like, so thank God I did that right at the beginning. But if you're in the game for a couple of years and all, I definitely recommend with Russ is saying, which is yext.com, and they'll go in across all the major directories and they'll just get all your info, worked out. And I think they do it in like a time frame where it's like
a week
or like, but no, I think it's a little slower. So it lets Google like digest everything. I think they break it up. They don't do it overnight. It's over like a month time. Each week they do another segment, they'll do like 10-15, and then the next week they'll do another 10-15. So as you're watching it, you're watching your Google search, you're ranking, you're getting so much more websites that are coming up. And I'm on all these different review sites that I've never signed up or anything. I'm like, how the hell did I get on that? You know what I mean? So it starts finding its own reviews on you as well.
Yeah, and the other one that I use too is Moz.com. It's MOZ.com. And it's more or less like a background SEO booster. It's $20 a month, and then you can add, I think it's the data aggregators are $4 a month, which helps boost it faster. So it's like $24 a month. I don't do SEO. I don't know shit about it. I don't like SEO. I've never done SEO. So for me, I'm like for $25 a month. I mean, that's lunch. So I mean, just won't eat lunch today. You know what I mean? Like it's for $25. It does something. I don't know what it does, but it does something. So my Google guy in Florida told me about it. So I use it for both. But I think the one thing that a lot of people, I'll just touch on SEO real quick because I know a lot of people are into it, right? And a lot of people want to push it. And there's this narrative among people that SEO is better because you're not paying for leads, right? If that were the case, what are you spending $2,000 a month on? Because if you're spending $2,000 a month to get free organic leads, they're not fucking free. Okay? You're spending $2,000 a month to get leads, whether you want to look at it that way or you want to, pretend that, I'm just working up the rankings, right? The other thing is that when people sign up for SEO, most of the guys that are selling this to you don't tell you actually how long it's going to take to work, right? The average time is 6 to 9 months before you'll even start to see it move up. Now, if you're going to spend $2,000 a month on SEO to get results in 6 to 9 months, why would you not spend $2,000 in Google ads to get results today or tomorrow? To me, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. The other issue
Let me ask you though, is it two different worlds that you're building? Should it be separated and not even compared?
I
Because
don't know.
the way I look at it, man, is like the SEO is like the long run. You're building that, that's kind of like your organic building and just getting your keywords and all that. Where the Google Ads is, that's just straight up marketing you're paying. So if you eliminate that tomorrow, you pretty much have nothing. Where if you build on that SEO, you pretty much have some, because you're going to organically come up in that top 3.
Right.
That's the goal.
Well, there's a couple different things that you can look at, right? So you can be in the top 3 of map packs, and that's all done on wherever you are searching. Now, there are some things that people can do to get you in a better location through, tricks and bots and things like that I don't understand, but I've had people offer it to me that told me they could do it. And they showed me things that they've done for people within like 2 months. So for map ranking, SEO, I think, especially in large cities, would probably be working. Then after that, you go into the main page. Now, I can search. Coincidentally, I just happened to search junk removal in Dallas, Fort Worth, because someone recently made the comment that they own the DFW area and they have it on lockdown, and they brag about their SEO websites and how fantastic they do. I'm looking at it on the second page, which no one fucking gets to. And above you are College Hunks, J Dog, Junk Quest, stand up guys, all these other guys that are bigger than you. And why is that? It's because they have more data than you. They can do backlinks. I can tell you that there's my mentor and coach now is the president of the 3rd largest franchise of junk removal. I worked with him for 2 years. I actually spent $1,500 a month for 2 years to pick this guy's brain, and he was it's the best $30,000 I've ever spent in my life.
And who is that?
It's Justin Waltz. So Justin, Dave Lettick went there. Abel's been there. He did a mastermind in 2022, and I think that was $1,500 a person. And then I went the second year, and then I just went last year, and I was an advisor to him. I actually got the little badge here from him. It was great. As an advisor, a badass, and chief troublemaker. So I was the one that they brought in to basically go through someone's business and say, okay, I don't think this is going to work. Why do you want to do it this way? What is you thinking that it's going to come out at the end of this?
Hold on one second, guys. We got somebody in the chat that's he's getting a little spicy in here. Troll Hunter. I never seen this guy. He says, where the hell is Andrew? Russ was talking so much smack on the last episode. And then he says, can you ask Russ why he blocks everyone on Facebook? Russ, why are you blocking everybody on Facebook, bro? Why are you picking on this guy, man?
First of all, clearly the name suits him. That's all I can say. I don't know who the guy is. I don't know who he is. I don't know who it is to say why I block someone. But I will tell you that if I do block someone, it's typically because they're so stupid that I can't even have the conversation with them, and I don't want to even listen to the horse shit that they have to say. Abel knows. Abel was on that. Me and Abel met there. Abel knows his shit. Justin knows his shit too. I will tell you that Justin was probably the best. He worked at Got Junk for 9 years as a GM, and then he went over to College Hunks when there was 3 franchises, and he helped it grow to 126 franchises. So he knows a lot of back end stuff, what their marketing was, what the ways that they became successful, and he passed a lot of that on to the people that worked for him. And I would say that almost everybody that went to all of his are north of 600,000-700,000 a year. John Aguirre was there. You guys know John. John was there. Abel was there. Edwidge is there. He's a 7-figure guy. Dave was there. There's Jamie Rios. There's a lot of them that went there. Dalton Wilson was there. Ben was there. There's a lot that were there, and they're all doing really good. They've all bought trucks. They've all expanded. That's why I believe that if you find a good coach or a good mentor, go with them.
What's up? What's up? What's up with Abel? You know, I shaved my beard too, Abel. You know what I
Oh, he ain't
mean?
cutting that motherfucker. I tell you that.
I want to shout out Abel too.
Yeah.
Today I went to my first BNI group locally and everything, and I sat down with these guys, and kind of they pitched everything to me, and I was about to just make my decision, and then Abel, hit me up, and he knew I went there, and he just gave me some suggestions that I would have never thought of, and I just want to shout him out. Thank you so much. And one of them suggestions that he did give me was, make sure you know who the realtor is in the group, because they only pick one person from each industry. So if you got a realtor that, is only one or two houses a year he's selling, they're not really a power move kind of guy. So you want to find a group that you got a power realtor in there that's, doing a lot of transactions, and they're going to send you a lot of referrals and all that. And also, I just wanted to ask you what your thoughts are with, local BNIs and Chamber of Commerce and all. Is that something that you focus on at all, Russ?
Never been to a Chamber of Commerce meeting in my life. Not one time in gutter cleaning or in junk removal. I've never put on a suit. I'm wearing a polo now because I'm doing this, and this is what I wear when I do estimates. But if I ever went to a BNI, I'd be in a t-shirt. I'm not the guy to go in there and pretend that I'm something I'm not. That's why our guys don't wear polos. We wear t-shirts. I'm not into that pushy type stuff for the Chamber of Commerce. I did go to a BNI meeting, and the problem with BNI that I do not like is that there's only one per person, and if you join, it's like $1,200 to join, and in order for you to stay in there, you have to refer like X amount of people to it, and if you don't get enough referrals, then they can kick you out and keep your money. And the other thing with BNI is you can't just go out and join 15 BNIs in your group. You are only allowed to join one chapter, and that's it. So I think it really limits your ability to get
So
stuff.
let me just throw in a couple of things here when you're saying that, because Abel was the one that kind of clarified things for me and kind of gave me some good ideas. I'm not going to give out all the tips and everything he told me, because I know obviously you want to keep some of that. But one of the things that he told me was, do not rush into this. You get 2 meetings at each BNI group before you have to make your decision. So use
Right.
both of those. Really get to know each person in there and what industries are in, and go around to all of them. Take a couple months, go to all the different towns around, and then find which one has a very powerful group, which one has, a big network and all that. And just, because that's kind of going to be your sales team right there. And you want to really have a good relationship with them. So that was one of the things. And then I also understand what you're saying, Russ, where you can only join one of them and that's it. But Abel had a good suggestion for that as well. Go find the 2 best in the area. I go join one. My wife joins the other one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could do that.
So,
and use your referral on your wife. So
yeah,
you
there
get
you
one
go.
out of the way, look, I got this new person. Same last name, but The other thing too with BNI is you could probably work it is if you go to both of them, you're not required to be in there, but you get their contact information. And really, you're really only going to those groups for realtors. You're not going there to find a roofer. Nobody here wants to go and shovel fucking roofing. Nobody here is going to get a call from a roofing guy to be like, hey, you want to go fucking shovel 17 yards or square of roofing into your trailer? Fuck no. No, I don't. So, and there's a lot of stuff in there, like insurance adjusters are good, because if there's a hurricane, if there's a tornado, if there's flooding, you give them their name and say, look, I'll work with insurance companies directly. You can just pay me. I'll make sure everything's done. I'm fully insured, all that other stuff. Unlike some of the people who like to make YouTube videos are not fully insured. But anyway, there's just a lot of things that you could do with that. I mean, you could go to 10 BNIs and talk to 20 different realtors because you get 2 for each one. And, now you've started your realtor connections, which is, I know a lot of people think that realtors are cheap and they get the bad news. If someone told me I could have 100 apartment complexes or 100 realtors, I'd take 100 realtors all day long.
So you have a big network of realtors that you work with?
Yeah, my number one realtor that I work with is Debbie Jacobs. She works for Howard Hanna. She sold $42 million worth of real estate. She's been one of the top producers in our area for the last 25 years. Her daughter does it. I'm in all of her. She has 2 offices that she works out of. I work with all of them. Today we just did a full truck at the end of the day for a realtor. I got referred on Sunday by a realtor an hour away. That was a $6,000 job. So realtors, there's a couple tricks to realtors. One, um, they're your best friend and you're their best friend. So when they call you, yes, that's it. That I don't care what the question is, the answer is yes. Right now, in an hour, whatever you have to do to get there as soon as possible. Speed wins the realtor games. Two, take the stuff that you're not supposed to take, paints, solvents, things like that. We all know how to get rid of it. You can mix it with cat litter in every state and throw it right out. So if you have to go buy a fucking $5 bag of kitty litter at Walmart to make a realtor happy who sells 50 houses a year, you better go walk your ass into Walmart and pretend you got a fucking Siberian tiger living at home and buy some goddamn fucking cat litter, right? Then, can you move this from one room to that room? Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing that got me the most realtors, and I actually have a script for this, and then I write it out, and I'll send it to every realtor that we got, is the first thing I tell them is why us? Number one, we will bill your clients out of closing proceeds so that you can get the house cleaned today, pictures taken, and listed faster. It is the single biggest thing that you could do to build your realtor, Rolodex or however your
So
realtor contacts
how does that all work? You say that you'll take it at a closing. So how long do you wait for that?
until it closes.
So
So
which is
here's
like normal, like 3 months, 6 months?
no,
What?
it's usually 30 to 45 days is when they close. Typically,
Okay.
depending on where you are in the market. Where I'm at in Rochester, the houses, it's where I'm at, it's a shithole, but it's the hottest housing market in the country right now. Average day is 13 days to sell a house here. Whereas where I'm at in Florida, I know Denise asked me where I was in Florida. I'm in
Can't sell
Sarasota
anything
County.
right now.
Yeah, Sarasota County and Charlotte County, they're dropping 8 to 9%, and the houses are staying on the market for 90 to 120 days. In those instances, I would not offer that because I'm not going to hold $3,000 or $4,000 in up in the air for 3 to 6 months. But so typically the way this works is, and this is the way I explain it to everybody. It's almost exclusively on estates or elderly people moving, right? So the three biggest things that are that fuel us as junk removal start with the 3D, and it's not dick, okay? It's downsizing, divorce, or death, right? Any of those three are going to trigger an event that we have to step in and clean a house, clean an apartment, clean a retirement community, whatever. So those are the three areas that I focus on, right? Divorce attorneys, those are great. Realtors, retirement communities, apartments, great. They move over. But guess what? In retirement communities, they die out. And there's a long list of people who want to go in Mary's apartment on Wednesday and she died Tuesday. And those companies, a lot of them, they can't have do-it-yourselfers because you can't park a dumpster rental there. So you're not allowed to put a 30-yard dumpster at a retirement home and just take 2 weeks to fill the fucking thing up from the 17th floor, right? So those are the places that they absolutely have to have you. Apartment complexes, they could use you, but they have maintenance crews, right? So they could do it themselves. Section 8, they can probably do it themselves. But a retirement community, a high rise, which we have a lot of them in Florida, they cannot use their own people because they're busy doing whatever else. I mean, these people are paying $15,000 a month to live in a high rise. And so that's what we focus on for that. And I went on a tangent and completely forgot your question.
No. This is some good listening for everybody out there. I hope they're listening where to go market your business at. Because I'm gonna tell you that I was just in that situation Saturday, and the family does not want to go back in the house.
No.
And guess what? They're just gonna open their wallet to you. As
Yeah.
long as you, they know who you are. But the business, the apartment, the complex is going to refer you. So they
Yeah.
already know that he's the guy. So I'm
Right. And
trying to tell.
it's the same thing with realtors, right? There's no realtor that ever referred someone that you didn't use, right? There's nobody that said, man, I'm selling my house. I need a good plumber. Call Yee Yee. All right, cool. Yee Yee, come get my shit. Why? Because the realtor knows everybody.
Yeah.
Especially the high producing realtors, they don't
Mhm.
associate themselves with shitbags. So if a
Nah.
realtor refers you, you're going to get the job. But when it goes back, I remembered the question about the closing. So this is the way it works. I tell everybody, hey, listen, Mary, I know this is unexpected. Nobody has a fund that says when my mom dies, this is the savings account to clean out our house, right? I completely understand. You probably don't have the money for this. I get it. I have a couple questions and I can probably work with you. Is the house paid off? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are there any liens on the house? No. Perfect. Those are the only two questions I need to ask you. So what I'm going to do, Mary, is this. Okay. You have about 7 trucks here. It's going to be expensive. There's nothing I can do about it. Right. So you're looking at $700 a truck times 7. You're going to be right around $4,900. Now you're a senior, so you're going to get 10% off. That saves you $500. So you're about $4,400 plus tax. What I'm going to do is I would need your realtor's name and I need your attorney's name. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to submit the bill to the attorney and I'm going to submit the bill to the realtor so they understand this got done. And when you go to close, the house is worth $400,000. You're going to get a check for $395,000 and the title company is going to pay me for doing the job now. So this works out for me because I get the $5,000 jobs. I get the big jobs. It works out for the customer because the customer doesn't have to pay anything up front. And it works out for the realtor because the realtor can now get her paycheck faster so they don't have to screw around and try to find who's going to be able to do this job for $500 because that's all Mary has. And there's 7 truckloads of shit in this house, right? It frustrates the realtors. They can't get their self going. So if you tailor your marketing to the realtors and stuff like that, you will see an exponential growth in your realtors, right? And that's where you're going to make the most amount of money. You have 0 ad spend. I work with about 250 realtors in Rochester, and in Florida, I'm about 40, right?
Russ,
That's
how did you get this relationship with them? Because I just want to bring in JM just put a good comment. He says, we
Yep.
do presentations for real estate brokers. We touch 20 to 6 realtors in 10 minutes, pays off great. So
Yep.
what's your thoughts on, going out and doing the presentations, maybe hitting up like once a week, a different
100%.
company?
I wouldn't
And
do once a week. I wouldn't do
okay.
once a week because now you're just badgering the shit out of them, right?
No. So in my town, there's 12 different companies. So I'm saying
Okay.
like one
Oh,
company,
yeah.
you know.
I see what you're saying. And then they also have like satellite offices. So like you might be in West Palm and there might be 7 Coldwell Banker offices all in West Palm because they all try to own their own franchise, right? So you could go to all 7 of those. But if you only got one, don't just go hammer the shit out of them every single day because they're going to get pissed off at you and just say, get out of here. You know what I mean? But presentations are great, but it's all in the presentation and you have to be able to offer them something that they can't get from the guy that smokes crack on Craigslist, right? So yes, out of escrow, you're correct, Cisco, right? So a realtor, and the other thing you got to worry about realtors is, and it happens, you're going to get burned on a couple. You're going to go and do an estimate for the realtor, and then the realtors all have husbands who then they just say, "Oh, look, I got this estimate for $2,500. I've got someone that can do it for $2,300 if you want." Just so happens to be your husband. So they use you to get the price, and then they give somebody else to come in the back door to lower it that they know, right? It's going to happen. You're going to find out within 2 to 3 estimates. If you've done 3 estimates for one person and they've never one time used you, you just don't work with them because they're using you. That's all it is. The other thing that I always used with realtors, and I used it with any customer when I was new, it works wonders. Okay. I'm sitting at home right now doing nothing but talking to you guys, right? My phone rings right now and I want to do a job. Hello, thank you for calling A Plus Junk. Oh, you got junkies got to go right now. Oh shit. I'm on a job right now. Can you hold 1 second? Let me just look at my schedule real quick. I got no fucking schedule. I got nothing. I'm sitting here with my thumb up my ass. I got nothing. Hey, Mary, I got some time in about the next hour and a half. Will that work for you? I could probably squeeze this in between the other 3 jobs I got today. Will that work for you? You will? No problem. Let me get everything ready. Let me get your information. I'll be over in about an hour and a half. Now, it makes you look like you're busy, even though you're not. And it makes you look like you're going out of the way for your customer when you're really not. Right? So a lot of what people are selling is words in the way that you can put things together. Right? So you can go in and do a very simple, presentation, or you can do an elaborate one like Got Junk does, and in your polo and your little fucking bow tie and your shorts and shit, right? Whatever. And at the end of the day, no one gives a shit, right? No one cares that you're going to go and clean up a shit ass basement or a hoarder house in a polo versus a t-shirt. I think personally, if someone showed up at my house to clean out a hoarder house with a polo on, I would think they were fucking retarded. Honestly, what are you doing? It's dog shit. What are you fucking dog shit on the ground? What are you doing? Your piss bottles in the polo? What the fuck are you doing? Like, so for
Yeah.
me, like that, but words and the way that you can talk will really help you in sales. And here's a big tip. I watched a very famous guy on YouTube who does public speaking. And he said this was the biggest tip that helped me out. What you do is you take your phone and you put it in front of you and you go over your entire sales pitch, right? Then what you do is you put your phone down and you hit play and you listen to what you're saying. Do I like what I'm saying? Can I hear it? Did I make all the points? Did I do this? Blah, 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 right? Then after you listen to it, you put the phone up and you hit play on mute and you watch your body language. Do I look stiff? Do I look loose? Do I look like I know what I'm doing, right? Because there's a big difference between me going in and selling an $8,000 job and someone who's been doing this for 2 weeks. You're not going to have a chance because I have more experience than you, right? But if you don't have confidence in the way that you're talking, you're going to blow every fucking sale you got. So it's a way that you can continue to talk and get into everything. It also works with objections, right? So if you have an objection and you want to overcome it, videotape yourself overcoming it the way that you think you should. And if you don't like the way it looks, record it again. Record it again. By the time you get to 100 recordings, you're a fucking expert. You don't have to go through the spiel because it's in your head and just it's beat in there, so you know what it is. And you can do this at home. It's not like a fucking rocket science. You don't got to go to college to learn this.
Yeah, one of my old partners in the concert business, he was an older guy. He was in his 70s, used to control the hip hop and all that, Jewish man. And he would always go in the mirror and he would practice all his presentations, and he would always have me, watch what you look like, so you could see and exactly and work on it, work on your body language and all that. So over the years, that was one of those things that, I would definitely work on. And I used to watch him. He was just like a master at that kind of stuff. And just like you said, he would come off so confident with everything.
Yeah, and the thing too is Kevin Hess will tell you about this, and I love Kevin. I got to tell you, Kevin's website for coaching and everything is probably one of the top websites I've ever seen.
Let's shout that out real quick. You're talking about junkevolution.com. Is that the one?
I'm not sure what his is. I looked at it and I actually reached out to him. I said, I don't know who the fuck did your website, dude, but that is a great professional website. And as much as I know about the business, I would look at that as considering him to be my coach because it looked very professional. He has a very long background with Got Junk and everything else. So if anybody's looking for stuff, I would highly recommend Kevin Hess. He's very good at training people and the sales stuff. But I think
what about somebody who's been in the business 18 years?
22 reviews.
Whoa.
So
I got to second what you're saying, Russ, with Kevin, man. I just, from day one, I've been, listening with Kevin and just so much great stuff. I call him the customer service guru. He just knows how to handle so many different things. And then the other thing that I want to make mention that everybody's got to check out is the blogs that he puts out. Get over to his Survivor. So I forgot the
Facebook group. Dude.
No. His actual website. He has all the blogs under there. And, anytime I got some downtime or I got 5 minutes, I'm going under there and I'm going under one of these blogs. And I literally take notes from each one. And I'm telling you, on the way to jobs, I'm practicing some of the stuff I'm learning, and it just it kills it, And one of the ones that everybody puts in the reviews and that they really they're impressed with is when I call up on the way there, when I'm a half an hour out, and I just let them know, I'm going to be stopping to gas up. Is there anything I could pick you up, a drink or a snack? That I can't tell you how many times that has just closed the deal for me. You know what I mean? It's just they're no longer looking for other estimates or anything. They have a connection with you. It already started before you even got there in person and all. Yeah. So guys, I really encourage you, get over to Kevin's his training. I think it's Junk Evolution. That is the training he's made for other junk removal companies. Check out that website, man. Just gold over there for sure.
Yeah, and I think he's smart about the sales aspect, and I look at a lot of the stuff that people are on here, and they're, oh, I'm missing jobs. People are, they're too expensive and all this other bullshit. That's not it. You just suck at selling. Okay. There's no way around it. Everybody has a junk problem. And the problem is some people go knock on the door. Hey, Mary, I'm here to get your junk. Where is it? You know what I mean? And it's like, that's not the approach, right? The approach is, people don't buy from salespeople. They buy from friends or someone that they can connect with or someone that they genuinely like, right? So, I believe the phone call in is the way that you can really start to build that rapport, right? And I'll give you an example. I had a lady call me the other day and she asked me about a junk removal job. The phone call went 40 minutes, and the first 5 minutes of the job was the description of everything. And then what they wanted to do was tear down a play set that their 12-year-old started to take apart because he's got really bad ADHD and he likes to be hands-on with his hands. I have extremely wicked ADHD. And at the end of that 40 minutes, she actually went and bought a genetic methylation test that will tell them if there's something wrong genetically with them, which is causing the ADHD, right? I got that job for $3,700 after a 40-minute phone call, right? Now, we still talk. We've talked the last 2 weeks over this because she wanted to know more. I was talking to her and everything else. But when I go to a house, you call up, that you're going to get Susie, who is my phone girl, my sister-in-law, who by far is the most valuable asset that I have in this company, by far, 10, way better than me, right? And she's so nice on the phone that people will not call anybody else, right? But even if I answer the phone and I don't know them, I'm asking, oh, yeah, we can do the basement. Are you getting ready to move? Are you doing? Oh, yeah, I'm moving. Oh, you moving to Florida, getting rid of the taxes? No, I'm moving around the corner. Oh, you like the taxes? I hate them. Whatever. Something that everybody has in common, right? We all hate the tax guy. We all hate the fucking weather where I'm at. So you talk about the weather, whatever. I knock on the door. Hey, Mary, how you doing? And I always step away from the door, right? You go up and knock on the door and you're 2 inches from the door. You're intrusive. You're powerful. A lot of the people that we do are women at home. So I don't walk right up to the door, just stand next to the door, like open this fucking door and let me in. I always step back because there's that, that feeling like you're not pressured. Right. So, and then it's always, what are we removing today? Oh, we're doing the basement. Perfect. Oh, is that your dog right there? What's your dog's name? Oh, come here, kill it. Oh, hey, buddy. You know what? Now I'm petting the dog. Now I like dogs, right? We got something in common. We walk through, I'm looking, what the fuck do we have in common? Oh, is that Vegas? Yeah. Oh, you went to Vegas too? Yeah. Did they take your money too? Yeah, they did. Fuck. I bought 7 lights on the building at the MGM because I lost, right? Another thing you got in common. Humor is another way that you can start to build that rapport and break the ice. So if it's an attic or a basement, the very first question I have is, we're going in the basement? Yeah. Any like missing kids down there that we got to worry about? Is there something down there that I need to know about before I go down there? It's kind of a joke, right?
Diddy rooms.
Yeah. Any baby oil I got to go down there, whatever. And then now you're laughing, you're joking with them. Then they start to tell you the story. When someone starts to tell you a story, they like you because no one's going to start to tell you about why they got divorced or why they're moving or why mom's in the nursing home, right? I got to clean out my mom's nursing home because she's got dementia and I don't know what to do with this dementia. And now they start talking to you, right? Now they're friends with you because they're confident in you and they want to, they want to tell someone and they want you to listen to them. So when you build that rapport, you can say anything. I mean, it's not hard to. I don't find it hard to sell, and I don't know if it's because I have enough confidence in me or what. I don't know.
Practically like this, bro. The way I look at it, life, man, is that's the second I leave my house, I'm already doing that. It's not even when I'm working, bro. Even before I was in service business, it's just networking, man. And it's like every time I come across somebody, I'm looking for that. What's the connection to start this conversation? What's the conversation piece that's gonna pop this off?
Yeah, I mean, if you can go to the bar and you can walk up to a total stranger and be like, "Hey, honey, can I buy you a drink?" There's no way that you can't have some sort of rapport with a customer. The difference is that when you go to the bar and you try to buy that lady a drink, you're trying not to get in their pocket, you're trying to get in their pants. The difference is a customer, you approach it the same way. You try to be polite, you try to come across this thing when you're really only there to solve a problem and take money from them, right? And I'm not trying to say that that's what we're in the business for. But that's what our job is. We're showing up to solve a problem for you, and you're going to give me money for doing it. That's what we're doing. You know what I mean? So, and I think a lot of people just go into sales just the completely wrong way. They just look at it as I need this job. And if you don't have work, people work harder to try to get a sale. When you have 4 or 5 days out, I literally tell people, like, look, if we do it, great. If we don't, I'm not worried about it. I've got 4 days worth of business. I'm just trying to help you out. If you want to do it, I'll definitely get you done. If you don't want to do it, it's not going to
99% of the
bother me.
time that'll get the job done. Now they're gonna take you for that. Yep.
Yeah, I can do it on Thursday. If you call me on Wednesday and want me to do it Thursday, you're going to be a week out. I have enough business that this play set isn't going to make or break me. Whereas if you get someone with 2 reviews and they've only got 1 phone call all week, they have to sell that job. And I think the other issue that a lot of people have when they're selling jobs is people think that it's all a price thing, right? It's not a price thing. Most people know roughly what this costs, right? So I'll just give you an example, and I have it on my YouTube page, and you can go there and you can look at. I have some 13-minute long videos and 10-minute long videos and some stuff that I explain how I overcome everything. But I'll give you the price one. This is the easiest one that everybody. Yes, Kevin, you're right. Sell the solution. So here's the way that I do it. Right, I walk up. Okay, hey Mary, listen. Just so you know, you got about a full truck. So our full truck price is $699 plus tax. It comes to $754. That includes all the labor, loading, hauling, disposal fees, and taxes. I'm looking at you, and I think you might have a little life experience, so that will benefit you by getting 10% off. I never use senior because it makes people feel old. I always use you look like you have life experience because they're older than me, right? So it's a different way of saying you old geezer. You know, it's a nice way, and they all laugh, right? They all go, I do have a lot of life experience. I know, me too. I'm starting to get there. You see it? You know what I mean? And it's a joke and they understand it. You know what I mean? And then I just tell them, it's X amount of dollars. And they go, oh my God, that's more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be, a little less. I can probably go out and, rent a dumpster and do this myself. And I go, okay, well, have you had a chance to look at dumpster rental prices around the area? Do you know like what a dumpster costs? Yeah, they're about $400 to $500 by the time it's all said and done. Perfect. Right. You're right. So if you go to this website right here, this is oaks.com. They do 15 yarders like we do, and it's $550 and they take a $650 deposit in case you go over and wait. Because the way rentals work is if you go over 2 tons, you're going to pay more, right? Oh, well, I don't know what 2 tons is. Yeah, no one does, right? So you're just taking a guess. With us, there's no overages on weight. So if I haul 10,000 pounds, I eat the $10,000 or the dump fees on 10,000 pounds, right? So one, you're never going to go over the price of a full truck with us because we're not going to add weight fees weight fees or overweight fees, right? The other thing is do you have a week to do this? Because you're going to take at least 10 days to do this. I'm going to do this in about 2 hours, and then you're going to be able to move on and do something else. But let's just take the price, Mary. It's $500 for you to rent a dumpster and do this yourself over the course of the week. I'm at $699. If I take the 10% off, I'm at $630. So really the difference is $130 because you're going to spend the $500 whether I do this or you do this. Can we agree on that? And then shut the fuck up because they're going to go, yeah, okay, well I got you for 500 right now because if I can go to 500 and do it for the price of a rental and still make money. And if you just agreed to me that you would spend $500 on a dumpster rental, we've just got your budget to $500 from wherever the fuck it was. Right? So if you're at $500, Mary, and I'm at $630, is it worth $130 to you for me to get rid of this right now? Yeah, it's over. They're done. They're not gonna go back and forth. Now, some people might be like, well, I'll give you for 400. Well, 800. Wait, you went up. Yeah, but you went down. Well, that's not how this works. You know what I mean? And then they start to understand it. The other thing that a lot of people run into is they'll say, and you'll see this on the groups, anybody who wants to, you go to the job, you do it, and you say $500, and they're like, I thought it was going to be like $300. That's what they're willing to pay you. They will pay you that $300. But if you're at 500, don't just go, all right, cool, I'll do it for 300, because now you look like a complete asshole by overcharging them for $200. Right? Don't just immediately start cutting the price because you think that's what the objection is. That's not always the objection. It could be they just don't like you, and you came across as an asshole, or you came across too overpowering or too overbearing, or you know it all, or you're not empathetic, or whatever the case may be. You don't lose on price. If you lost on price, Got Junk wouldn't be worth $2 billion. Okay, that's just not how it works. So, a lot of it is in the way, like I said, it's the way you present yourself, the way you talk, the way you go through all of the motions, the way that you can overcome stuff. It's
That's just the good thing about junk removal, about how fast it is.
yeah,
Dumpster companies, dumpster rentals. I have the best of both worlds. I'm a double-headed dragon. I rent
yeah.
my trailers out. I also do junk removal.
We do both.
I'd rather do junk removal because I just hit them for this price for 45 minutes instead
Yeah,
of my dumpster sitting there for like a day or two and now waiting. But that's
yeah,
just, the junk removal business is just so beautiful. It's so quick, so fast, the money. But on another note now, let's
yeah.
get into the yee talk. So,
Okay.
Russ,
Yeah.
is there ever going to be a day where you and Ricardo are going to be
Never,
able to sit in the same room? Let's
never.
get down to business now.
Absolutely zero chance that will ever happen. I will tell you this. I was asked to keynote speak the JunkCon, the original one that was done by JRA 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right in the middle of October, which is when our gutter cleaning company at the time was really busy. And I was not going to go and do this and lose out on $3,000 or $4,000 in business and spend the money to go to it and do it. So I told them at the time, I was like, look, I can't do it. I'm so busy. They went out and got other speakers, and then I found out that Ricardo was the last one that they asked,
What do you call him?
because
You don't say Ricardo. What do you say?
it's Ricky Ritardo.
Oh, there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. There you
And
go.
so they asked Ricky Ritardo to keynote speak, what was probably something that he thought was a big deal. And then after he did that, we just didn't get along, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
reason that I didn't go to the first Junk Expo with Matt was because Ricardo was going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect Matt, and I respect a lot of the people who are doing stuff to try to help the community or try to, make money doing this kind of stuff. And I don't want to go in somewhere and be a disrespectful prick and just hit someone over the head with a chair. I just don't want to do that. I think it's wrong. I think they have their own platforms that they're trying to do stuff on. I do not like Ricardo at all. I will tell you to this day. And it's actually funny because I have the first email that he sent me up here in January of 2023. When he told me, Russ, let's keep this professional. How about you don't mention me in any post and I do the same? Let's keep each other blocked on social media. Thanks, buddy. Actually, I'm headed to New York in the next few weeks. Maybe I'll stop by and we can chat. Right. So now you're talking about you're going to come to New York and you want to have a conversation with me in 2023. That was the beginning of it. Then I was like, all right, fuck you, buddy. You want to come here? I'm from New York. I'm not from fucking Texas. You might do it bigger in Texas, but we'll fucking do you dirty here. Trust me. And so that was part of it. We had gone back and forth in the groups because I was like, I can't understand why you would charge $45 for a fridge. Oh, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're doing, because he's just the fucking messiah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like his attitude. And it's funny because when I first started, he was one of the first YouTubers that I looked at. And I watched like 3 of his videos. And then one of his videos was how he was doing a pickup for Walmart in the back and he had to take a piss and he took a piss in their dumpster. And I was like, you're just an unprofessional fucking idiot. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't do that. So then
I didn't mean to cut you up, but I got to ask you this, brother,
yeah.
because you brought it up earlier about the mastermind group. So
Mhm.
I know that they do like I think it's like a mastermind group on I think it's actually tonight on Tuesday nights and all. Is that the same mastermind group that
No.
you were talking? It's
No
two
shot.
different. Okay.
Ritardo wouldn't make it. So I'll just tell you this: when we went to the first one, John Aguirre brought his son, and his son was 18 years old, and I think he had a few too many beers with his dad, and he was like passing out the next day, and he was falling asleep. That kid learned more sleeping than Ricardo has learned in 18 years. Okay. And I would put my money on that guy before I would ever put money on Ricardo teaching anybody in here how to do stuff. And anybody who listens to him, go get your IQ checked. That's the only thing I can tell you because the shit that this guy comes up with, you should never letter your trucks. You should never advertise. You should never pay for advertising.
Let me bring up an example because this is one of them that it's got me a little baffled, man. Because I don't really get it. I judge everything by money and business.
Mhm.
That's what makes sense to me.
Mhm.
So he had a couple on. It was the JT Solutions couple, and JT Solutions are doing it big on Instagram. That is their platform. They have figured out the algorithm. They're getting all these free leads. They're just killing it with that. And me being at the beginning of my junk removal journey, hearing numbers of 300-400K in their first year, I'm just like, wow, that's not even reality. I mean, I'm like, holy shit, we got to learn what they're doing. They figured it out. Everybody else that's saying these big numbers, they're also saying, they're paying 20, 30,000 a month on Google ads. And I'm not hearing that. I'm hearing $40 boost here and there on Instagram. So he brought them on, and then he just kind of ripped them apart.
They trashed them, from what I understand.
The thing that I'm not understanding is, why are we having resistance? If they found a new way and a new system that is making money, wouldn't we want to learn from that? Why did we decide that we have to shoot that down, tell them that it's the stupidest thing, they're doing it wrong? See, that's where I find where a man's ego could be his worst enemy. When you just start stepping on your own dick, just because your ego is telling you that, there's a problem there. And I'm coming across a lot of this in junk removal, and I scratch my head. I've always been the guy that's going learning from everybody, and a lot of the guys I see, I'm 3-4 times the size of them in life, and then they're telling me like I'm stupid and I'm just like, what? Like, why would we shut down and just put the chest up and just say it's stupid, let's not do it, and then go to war with them for the next 4 days, trashing them over it? What is your thoughts, first off? What is your thoughts of the couple and the way they found out Instagram and they're making all this money with? What's your thoughts on that, first off?
Well, I don't know Instagram enough to even be able to talk on that. But here's what I would say about that, okay? I watched him when they were on, and there was a couple things he said that I was kind of off put by. He is a great guy. I would get along with the guy. I actually, if you go back and look at the comments, I said I would buy one of his $100 books. I haven't heard anything from it, but if JT, if you're listening and you want me to buy one of your books for $100, I will buy it. Okay. So go make $100 and reach out to me and I'll buy the book. Okay. But I don't know Instagram enough, but let's just say he's got 30,000 followers on Instagram. There's a lot of things like bots. So how many of those 30,000 are actual people, right? And not just bots that, will like you, pull your content, and then duplicate it somewhere else and get your content to feed their Instagram too, right? So that happens all the time. The other thing with that is, of those 30,000 people, how many of them are other haulers, right? So let's say that there's 200 haulers that are watching what you're doing. You're not going to get any business from them, right? And you're not going to get any business from the bots. I don't know Instagram enough, but my guess is, of the 30,000 followers he has, most of them are not in his direct service area. They might have been someone that is, a side hustle as a gutter cleaning guy or as a power washing guy, came across it, liked them to see their posts, so they get ideas to go start it in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So I don't know enough about Instagram, and I don't know enough about his followers to say that his 30,000 followers are what's actually feeding it. It could be 10,000 followers that are legitimate in his area in Texas, that are actually funneling his business and recommending him and saying, hey, look at this. But I don't know enough to look at his followers and know that part of the business on it. It seems great. But again, I think a lot of the videos, and I, again, no disrespect to him at all, but I think a lot of people, and he even brought it up, if you go in and you say, look, I want to teach you about your cogs, no one watches. But as soon as I put $1,215 in 3 hours, everyone's like, how the fuck did you do that? And then everybody comes in and they watch you, right? So there's a lot of people in here that don't watch the information stuff like I put out or other people put out. They only want to see the big numbers of what people made because they want to see that they could do it. Well, you can't do it all the time, and not everybody can. He will make it because he's very good with his words. You can look at him, and I could tell within 30 seconds the way he talks. He's confident. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to Instagram and stuff like that.
Social media, definitely.
Right. And he did make a comment about, why don't the big dogs teach this stuff for free? If they're so big and they're so good, how come they don't come out and teach it for free? And a lot of the guys are doing it the same way for the same reason that he also came back and said, which was, I put out this free book. I had 1,000 people sign up for it and 80 people downloaded the book. Now I
Mhm.
sell the book because it took me the time to build the book. And now I'm not just going to give that away because I have time invested in it. And he said time is my biggest resource. So he wants to be compensated for the time that he's put into this. This is the same reason that the 7-figure guys and the bigger guys don't go give it out for free. I did it for free on Facebook groups live. There's probably people in the chat right now that would come on when I would do this every single week for an hour. After that, I would get 40 to 50 to 60 DMs, just like he did. How do I do it? How do I do it? Now, what happens is you're pulling your time away from your family and your business to try to help people. We all want to help everyone else get better. But the problem is, and he can probably say the same thing, is that when someone asks you for the free advice, they never fucking listen to you. So you could tell someone, hey, go out and do it this way and it will work. And they'll go, oh, okay. I'm not going to do it. And then they don't fucking do it. And then they're like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. No, you didn't fucking do, you didn't do it. So I don't know. He seems like a great guy. I don't know him enough to say one way or another. I think what he's doing and his hustle and everything else and her hustle, they're great. I like their videos. They're fun to watch. But I think that there's a lot more to it than just putting stuff in the truck, right? There's building
I think
relationships,
I think
referrals,
I
stuff
think
like
you're
that.
100% right with that, but I also think they're at that such a beginning
Hmm.
stage and
Hmm.
they're seeing such growth right away.
Yeah.
And just I want to clarify a couple of things because I do know a lot of the answers that you were
Hmm.
saying before. So he is very, very smart with the Instagram. That
Yeah.
is, it's not overall social media. Instagram is the focus. That's what they figured out. And what they have did, what I'm under impression is everything that they're searching is within 10 miles of where they're at. So
Okay.
it's it's geo fenced around there.
Okay.
So everything that is, it's not the subscribers that they're concerned about. It's the amount of views that they're
Yeah.
putting in monthly in front of. I think it's like 20 or 30 million views a month. So it's not 30,000 subs that they really care about
It's the
who's following
views.
what. It's all those eyes within 10 miles of your
Right.
house. So
If
I
that's the
know how it
case, then
is
they're killing it.
just from being in my town, bro. And we are that couple too, where like everybody's knowing us around town now, and we're like the it couple where everybody wants to see us. You know what I mean? So when we come to these jobs and everything, I'm getting people that just kind of want to hang out, and they're calling us back 3-4 times in a week just to get us to come back there. So
Yeah.
now I'm saying, now let me imagine if I'm getting 4 million views a month of that right in my area. And now these people like, yo, I got junk in my garage and I can meet these people right now. This would be
Yeah.
cool.
If that's the case, then that's awesome. I've never looked at that way, and I don't, like I said when I started this, I don't know enough. That's why I wanted to buy his book for
Yeah.
$100 because I don't know shit about it, and I'm not afraid to spend $100. If I buy it and I'm like, this fucking sucks, it's $100. If I buy it and I go, holy shit, this is really working, and I can make $100,000 because there again, it goes back to his presence on Instagram might be 1 million, but his presence on Google searches and on SEO and on the other stuff might not rank as high. So
No,
if
and not
something,
they're not at all, bro. There's
right,
nothing else out there on them. Their whole
right,
funnel is Instagram.
right,
But just do the numbers, bro. 4 million, let's
yeah,
just say 2% is
he would
calling
never
in for
keep
those
up.
jobs. That's
He would
enough
never
to
keep
keep
up.
them booked nonstop around the clock.
He'd die. He'd kill himself working because it's very simple. I just did this with one of my clients. I said, look, all you have to do is get 1 million views. If you get 1 million views and only 0.25%, not even one fucking percent, 0.25% is 2,500 jobs a year. That's 50 a fucking, or what is it? 50 a week or something like that. You couldn't keep up with it. And that's the other issue too that I think a lot of people especially knew. And I know he said something about the big dogs, how we can't teach him about how to load a truck and all of that. I don't disagree with him. You could probably go out and get a silverback gorilla and teach him how to load a truck. It's not difficult to move stuff from one person's house into a truck, drive it to somewhere, and dump it. That is not the business. We are not in junk removal. We're in the customer acquisition business. And the more customers you bring in, the more you're going to grow. It is a very simple thing. I have 10,000, actually, I think it's 11,000 now, customers in my database that are all different. 43% of my business comes from repeat. Okay. I know that because I use House Call Pro and I can tag jobs in there. Previous customer, new customer, hot tub, sheds, whatever I'm doing. I can put that in there. So at the end of the year, I know how many did I do in Florida? How many dumpsters did I do? How many hot tubs did I do? How many sheds? How many new
What are they
customers?
charging you a month for that?
I pay, I think, $3,600 a year.
Okay.
And I understand. I already know that there's someone else out there that does it for $50. Anyway,
Well, no, we want to get into that too, bro.
we will.
Yeah. So
But
okay, so for the 3,600, so what is it? It comes
Yeah.
out to $300 a month.
Yeah, it's like $300 a month.
Okay, now when is the proper time to get the CRM in your eyes? Is that something that people should do from day one? Is
No.
there something wait till you grow and you're big? Like when?
Well, I mean, it depends on your goals, right? So if your goal is you have to set your goals. So if you're like, look, I only want to make $200,000 a year, I can open up a junk removal company in any population of 500,000 or more and make $200,000 in the first year. It is not as difficult or as in my eyes. Okay. Now I know people.
Okay, hold
who
on.
have,
How do you do it though? If you had to go and make 200,000 in the first year, are you meaning all organic Google ads? Just
No.
explain that part.
I'll give you me and you you want to start a junk removal company and you want me to be your partner. You're like, hey Russ, you be my partner. I say, great. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go out and you're gonna become an S corp, right? So I'm gonna set up your business the right way. I'm gonna set you up as an S corp. I'm going to set you up with all of the insurances. I'm going to set you up with all the state regulations that you need. First thing, then you're going to get a bank account, all that bullshit, right? Now it comes in, how do I get jobs? The first thing you do is you build your website, right? Don't go to Wix.com and build a one-page fucking website that looks like my 4-year-old grandson did it, okay? It's not going to convert. People who look at websites know it looks like shit. Spend the money on a website. A good website is going to cost you $2,500. Make sure you own it. You're not leasing it, please. I know a lot of the agencies out there will tell you that you $2,500 for a website. You say, fuck you. I want to go to, Paul's agency. They go, oh, great. We're taking your website. Oh, you motherfucker. Now I got to spend the money again, right? So make sure you own the website.
Quick plug. Spearcrest Digital guys, Ronnie Knuckles. He did my website. If you guys like it, go check it out. Forget about it. Junkremoval.com. He is the guy and you own your website. So when he makes it for you, you own that. Just had to throw that in there.
Russ,
Yeah, Ronnie's good.
Russ, could you scale your business or even grow your business or even look the way you should look if you don't have a website and you do junk removal?
No. How are they going to find you? I mean, what are you going to, no, I would never, in my life.
There's people in my area that don't have a website and
they smoke crack. I don't know what to tell you. That's what they do. They smoke. I don't know.
They're watching. That's why.
Yeah, they smoke crack or do meth because they don't. They're not serious. It's that simple. Again, if your goal is to go out and make $100,000 in sales and 50 grand in your pocket, you could do that anywhere. If your goal is to get to multi trucks, or you want to get to $1 million, or you want to build a business that you can pass on to your kids or sell, you're not. Don't grow into it is my advice. Just eat the money, be professional from the day one. I didn't buy a truck and trailer. I went right out and bought an Isuzu, right? So I just would go right out. I would not do a truck and trailer. If anybody wanted to get in with a truck and trailer, I'd be like, nope, no truck and trailer. It's the same price or very comparable to a good used junk truck. A Chevy pickup truck or a Cummins or any of those, a good one's going to cost you 30, 40 grand to tow that trailer. Yeah, you can go out and buy a Ford F-150 that's going to drop a transmission in about 3 months if you pulling 15,000 pounds behind you every day. But if that's what you want to do, go ahead. You're going to buy another truck and it's going to cost you money. And if you're new, you don't have the cash flow to do it, right? So I went out, we would go out and buy a dump truck. I would wrap the truck, and that would be number one. I would tell you, if you want free ads every Sunday, you're going to take that truck and drive it right over to the grocery store. You're going to park it in the...
One question. When you buy that truck, are you buying a new truck or are you buying a couple-year-old truck? What's the plan with that?
So my first truck was a used junk truck with 240,000 miles on it. And my thought on that was, if it doesn't work, I'll sell the truck. If it does work, I'll buy a newer one. That's just my mentality on it. I didn't want to get into, a truck and a trailer. Most people, and I knew that I was going to grow the business. And if you know from the beginning what your end goal is going to be, which by the way, it was never where I'm at right now. But it's one of those things, like if I want to get to 2 trucks, I don't want to do trucks and trailers because employees beat the shit out of your stuff. They don't know how to back things up. And it just becomes more of a liability of things. Not only that, but it's a real easy DOT stop in most states because I think it's like a 10,001 tandem. You have to have DOT numbers and a CDLA. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know someone's going to correct me and be like, oh, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Look, there's a lot of DOT laws, but I don't run truck and trailers, so I don't have to fucking worry about it. I don't need a CDLA on any of my trucks. So if somebody needs
I got
it,
to ask you
chime in.
that. So you went and bought a truck. The first one had 220,000 miles. Now,
Gas.
a lot of people say you don't want to do that because of the maintenance and, having a truck in the shop all the time. What was your experience from doing that? Was that a good move or bad move looking back now?
I never one time had that truck in the shop. Isuzu makes amazing trucks. Got Junk actually makes really good bodies, and their scissor lifts are great. So they, that company isn't going to put their name on a piece of shit truck that can't hold up, right? So I would buy a gas dump truck immediately, rapid. I wouldn't get diesel. I know there's going to go back and forth with people with diesel. I don't like diesel. They're dirty. Not only that, but when it comes to an oil change, you have to change the oil filters all the time. There's oil and waters, or there's fuel and water separators you got to buy. They hold way more oil. I can't get. Yeah, my 750 that I run is $600 to do an oil change. Okay, so it's not just oil. There's a lot of other shit. Not only that, the gas is more expensive. A DPF filter on those things are $4 to $5 grand. There's so many regulations that happen. The EGR valves go off. You have to buy DEF fluid to make sure that it runs in certain states. In California, it can't be more than 10 years old. So I don't like diesel. Yes, they will tow more weight, but we're not hauling fucking boats and trailers full of roofing. Most of our loads are 2,500 pounds, maybe 3,000 pounds. And if you took it out, and any truck will hold that. The gas ones get, less gas mileage, but the gas is cheaper. The maintenance is cheaper. I just prefer gas over diesel, and I own both. I own 2 diesel hook lifts, and I own 3 gas engines. Now
let me ask you this, Russ. I want to know if you look back now, what would be the smartest move for you to do if you're looking to buy that truck, your first truck? Okay, now do we go that old?
Used.
Yeah, I know used, but I'm seeing a lot of people that make the mistake and they go and buy the NPR, and then you watch 2-3 years later they're trying to sell it and it's got very low miles. And I'm like, I've come to realize, I'm like, yo, there's a big market for that. So anybody like a guy that like me that just jumps in and buys the NPR, I would start stalking me. Watch this dude. If this ain't working out, I'd be the first one to put in an offer, because you got to remember, when they're going to buy these trucks, if it's like 3-4 years old, most finance companies aren't going to finance them that money because it's an older truck. So they got to find somebody that could buy it cash. So that's when you come swooping in and, they're asking $60K. I got $45K right here, right now. Let's go do this.
I would never buy a cash. I would never buy a truck cash. I think personally, I think it's the dumbest thing in the world to go out and buy cash for a truck. And I'm going to tell you why. If you buy a truck on a loan and it doesn't work out, you sell the truck and pay off the loan, right? You don't have to come up with $50,000 to go buy an NPR. You only have to come up with $3,000, maybe $5,000 in a decent credit, right? And the registration
rates that were just insane.
Doesn't matter, because you can always pay that off. Let's say that I buy a truck at 7%, and that truck allows me to make $10,000 a month. If I'm smart, I'm paying the truck off as fast as possible, but I don't want to dump $45,000 into something and realize, oh shit, it doesn't work. If you had $45,000 in cash and you were going to go buy a truck, I'd put $10,000 in the truck. I'd take the other $35,000, buy a website that looks good, wrap the truck, and put the other $25,000 away for cash flow, because you're going to have to come up with your insurances. You're going to have to come up with maintenance money. And if you dump $45,000 in cash on a truck, yeah, great. You own the truck outright and don't pay interest. But $5,000 a year or $15,000 total in interest for something that you can get out of at any time, I would never buy my money with that. It's the same reason that if you own a house, you should never pay cash for your house. Because if your interest rate is 7% and you put down 100,000 on a $400,000 house and invest that other 300,000 in a good fund, you're going to make more than the 7%. So for me, the interest that I'm paying is nothing compared to what that truck is going to bring in. I'll give you a perfect example. The only vehicles, and I know that Retardo wanted to go on there, and he said that the only reason that I do $1 million is because I got all these EIDL loans and all this loan money during COVID and all that. He's so fucking stupid. He doesn't realize that loans don't count as revenue, you dipshit. It's debt. You don't pay any taxes on debt, which is why you look at people who buy houses, Grant Cardones and all of that. What do? They finance everything. They got hundreds of millions of dollars and they finance everything because they're going to put their money in an investment that can grow it. They're not going to take that money.
They
and
never want to
cash.
pay taxes on their money,
Right.
and they use the government's money to,
correct. They use banks to finance everything. And a lot of people don't understand in the real estate game is that debt is not taxable. So if, Apple has fucking $90 billion of debt and they got $400 billion in the bank. Why would they have debt? Because they can write the debt off. They can write off all the interest and not tie up their cash. They're using the bank's money at 2%, and they got $300 billion in the cash making them money. I would never buy out.
I get your understanding and all that, but I just always been that guy, brother. I just want to pay off the cars. I don't want to loans, anything, and being in this business, that first couple of months and everything, I just kept saying to myself, it's not even the money. It's all just putting out those payments and insurance, each month, and you're not making money. It's just reminding yourself of getting kicked in the nuts every month. So I was just like, you know what? I'd rather just get this done with. Let me just buy this out. I don't got to deal with no loans. So I bought the insurance out right away, paid one payment and all, because I just didn't want to have that headache and stress. And that's how I am with my regular cars and all that.
But Paul, there's some guys on the other opposite side of you who don't have all that capital and just like to jump in this game. So I think what Russ is saying is gold, because I'm like soaking it up, like, whoa, that's why I'm so quiet. I'm like Dumbo. But there's some people who are not in that level as you, Paul.
No. I understand that, but he's saying that he never would do that. I mean, it's, if you're in a different position, you'd understand where I'm at. Like,
if I had 10 of them and I had $10 million in the bank, I'd pay fucking cash, right? Because I don't need the money.
That's what I mean, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. I just don't want to be reminded every month of how much I'm putting out there and I'm not making in, because those first couple of months, bro, it's fucking stressful. And now I could just imagine if you just had a very small capital in there, it's got to be scary at the beginning. That's what me and my girl keep saying. It's hot and cold in this business at that beginning, man.
But the other thing too is if you have an obligation, you're going to work to make sure that obligation works out. If you pay $45,000 for a truck up front, and Sunday comes around, you're like, I'm going to watch the Buffalo Bills play football. And then a call comes in, you're like, fuck it. I got to do it. But if you have $1,000 payment due in 2 days, you're going to be like, I'm going out and fucking working on Sunday because I got that fucking payment.
Yeah.
And so it lights a fire under your ass to try to get working harder and more.
Absolutely.
You did mention one thing I want to touch base on, because you have a lot of new people in here who are 1 year in. And JT, I'm going to call him out on this because he asked, what can old people, big dogs, teach him? And the first thing I want to let him know, and everybody else who is new to the game, is about insurance. Okay. Anybody who's been in this game for more than a year understands what I'm about to tell you. But if you don't know what I'm about to tell you, be prepared for it. Okay. So when you go and get insurance, your GL policy, if you have employees, just so we're all clear, not 1099 people or anybody who's a subcontractor and then gets hurt in California and you get fucked, right? Without having comp insurance, you're out of business. But anyway, so
you sell your business.
Is that what happened? Because it's odd, because I just looked at it today and he sold it a year ago and there hasn't been one single fucking review posted to any of his 3 GMBs in the last year. So if you sold a business with 200 fucking reviews, Someone who bought that would have built that in the last year. But if you sold your business for $225,000 to someone and that person couldn't get one more fucking review in 12 months, you sold it to an idiot or you're lying. One of the two fucking happened, okay? But anyway.
Okay, so I'm
insurance.
we're talking because we just bounced around, so
Yeah.
I got lost.
Insurance.
We're talking about
insurance.
Andrew is what we're talking about.
Let's get back.
Let's go to insurance first. So insurance works like this. When you go get your policy for your GL, the first thing they're going to ask you is, what are your projected sales, right? 100,000. Great. Your policy is going to be written on $100,000 in revenue. How much do you think you're going to pay an employee for comp? $40,000. Great. Your comp rate is this. 1 year goes by. The insurance company is going to call you up and they're going to say, hey, Paul, thank you so much for your business. We're going to audit you. So what I need to know is I need your sales from last year and I need all of your payroll records from wherever you use. I use ADP. If anybody wants a really good rate on ADP, my rep will reach out to you. She's awesome. But anyway, so now first year, your comp policy is $1,300 and your GL policy is $2,000, right? Audit comes around. What were your sales? $250,000. Perfect, Paul. We appreciate that. Your new rate going forward is no longer $2,000 on your GL policy. It's $4,000. But Paul, you just got a $2,000 increase in the year 2025. However, Paul, we underreported last year. So now you owe the $2,000 from last year too. So your bill right now, you owe me $2,300 for last year's underpayment, and your payment going forward now went from $200 a month to $400 a month. You tell someone new who just started that and is trying to get away with minimals on GL policies and on comp policies, and then all of a sudden they get fucking whacked with a $5,000 bill, and they're like, what the fuck just happened? It will cripple you. Okay. So anybody out there who has insurance policies, go to Toby Stubbs. He's phenomenal in the junk game, and ask him about what I'm telling you. An insurance audit will absolutely cripple your bank account if you do not know what one is. Okay. It is extremely important. And this has nothing to do with how to load a truck or how to put stuff in a truck or how to go to the dump. This is how you are going to have to protect your business and how you're not going to get a fine from the state or hi, come here for a second. We want to talk to you at the labor board. So that's a major thing about insurances, and anybody who's new should really soak that in, because if you've only been doing this for 9,000 or 9 months like he is, and he gets to 200, but he underreported his earnings, he's going to get a wake-up call next year. It's going to happen. I mark my words, JT. I know you're watching. If you do not put money aside for that, you're going to get a big fucking shock when the insurance company comes and audits you. So,
but how does the insurance company get to know your income or what you're making?
They can ask for your bank records. They can ask for all your bank deposits. So if they think you're lying, they can say, okay, I want your bank deposits for the last year, or I'm going to cancel you. Now, in auto insurance, most of the people who are in these groups are using their personal auto insurance. And the problem that they run into with that is almost every single third-party hauler, whether it's Jiffy Junk, Junk Luggers, if it's fucking Check Sammy, if there's any of those out there that are searching for people to haul for them, and they go, perfect, you're a great hauler. Can I have your commercial auto insurance? Oh, I don't have commercial. Man, you're gone immediately. You're out. You're not going to haul for them, right? So you tried to be a cheap ass by using your personal insurance to save a couple $100 a month, but you just lost out on a junk luggers connection that's going to pull in $50,000 a year for you, or Resupply, or Habitat for Humanity, or Goodwill, or any of them. You will not be able to haul for them without commercial insurance. And everybody in the game, if you go and look, I don't letter my trucks. I don't letter my trailers. And it isn't because they don't want business. It's because they understand that as soon as you slap letters on your truck and you slap letters on your trailer, you're paying commercial insurance, and they don't want to go to Progressive and pay $15,000 a year for auto insurance on a commercial vehicle. It is the easiest way to try to save money. And when it happens, you're fucked, because if you're hauling concrete and that shit flies out and you don't have commercial insurance, you're going to have a problem, because they can take everything. Which brings me to another point. There was another point where some people think that a DBA, I don't know if Yee was on that conversation or where I heard it, about a DBA. Anybody who has a DBA, I want you to understand you have absolutely zero
But hold on.
liability
DBA
protection.
though is not a standard. It's not like an LLC or anything. All it
No,
is saying I'm
you just
doing
own a name.
business as.
Yeah, I
To
own the name.
have a DBA, you have to have an LLC
No, you don't.
before that. Well, it has to be incorporated. How would you be able to do How would you be able to do doing business as if it's not
You
a business?
file with
Then
the county.
Simple. You file it with the county and you go to your state, you go to the county courthouse and you say, I want to see if anybody has the name A Plus Junk Removal. No? Great. I want to buy the DBA. I could do nothing with it, but it protects the name that I want to do business as. So you take that DBA, and in New York, what happens is you get the DBA. As soon as you file for the LLC, the DBA goes away because the LLC will protect the name and nobody can steal the name. A DBA does nothing more than just make sure that nobody can go use Fuhgeddaboutit junk removal. That's it. You do not have to have an LLC in order to have a DBA.
but to do business, you do.
No,
The reason why, yes, you do, bro. That's how I run things. Yes.
is that okay? So in New York, when I started my gutter cleaning company, I was never incorporated for 13 years. I was never an LLC for 13 years. I took the DBA. I went to the bank. They said, "You want a bank account?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "No problem. You have a bank account in A Plus Gutter Cleaning's name." There was no requirement for me to go and do it. When I started the junk removal company, I started it as an S corp because I was smarter from 13 years ago. But I can go down to the county courthouse and just protect the name for $33 in Rochester, New York. All that means is that I own the name. In New York, that's unless that changed from whenever, I can just say from my experience, I think I might even have the paper down here, but it basically just says you're doing business as I'm the
the
owner.
thing that you're not getting is you're doing business as what? What business are you doing?
I
If you're
own-
just owning a name, it's
Yeah,
like
so-
trademarking a name. That's not really doing anything.
Right. So here's the thing. I can go out and I can do business as, which means that I can go out as Yee Yee's Junk Removal because now I own the name Yee Yee's Junk Removal. The LLC part is the part that you want because if I'm Yee Yee DBA and my trailer falls off and fucking kills Paul, who's trailing behind me, and they go, I'm going to sue your business. Oh, wait, you just have a DBA? Yeah, great. You just lost everything personally. Your house, your cars, your retirement,
I
everything.
understand what goes wrong. I was
Right.
the one that's been, telling everybody that
Right.
you shouldn't just go start off just because, somebody
Right.
tells you, you can't afford it right now. You'll get around to it. Because if you go in day one and you go get in an accident and somebody dies or somebody
done.
is bodily hurt, you are done for life. And not
Yep.
only are they going to take what you own right now, it's what you will work for in the future will
Yes.
be taken from you. And I've
Correct.
had one of my very close friends that, have experienced that from. So that's why I'm so familiar with all that and all.
Yeah.
But
the
as
LLC
far as
will
with the
own the
DBA
name.
and all that, I think that's like little technical things that we got to find out and all. But, if you I didn't even know you can have a DBA without actually having a business. But I am a person that has a business and under that LLC, I don't want to say
You
what
own the
business
name.
I have it on. I have Fuhgeddaboutit. That is
you own it.
the DBA. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, you can have an LLC own the name. You know what I mean? So you can do that. You can have a trust own a business. There's a lot of different ways that you can get around that, but you can just own the name as a DBA.
You
And
just hit on something that I believe you brought up last time, and I would like to talk about that is with the trust, putting things in the trust, the benefits of different states. Because was it you that started talking about that with Wyoming trust, and was that you?
So there's a couple different ways that you can do it. You can basically set a trust up in any state. When it comes to businesses, you can set them up in Delaware or in Wyoming in their complete anonymity. So what happens is that in order for someone, I own A Plus Junk Removal, but it's in Wyoming. I hit and kill Yee Yee. Yee Yee gets a fucking attorney, his family gets an attorney and tries to sue me. They're going to say, what assets do you own? And I'm like, I don't own anything.
Zero.
And they're like, what are you talking about? You have this truck? Yeah, I don't own it. Well, who owns it? Find it. I don't have to tell you who owns it. I don't have to tell you where it goes. All I can tell you is that, yeah, I don't own the business, right? And so then what happens is now the attorneys have to try to find it out. Now they go, well, where was this business formed? Oh, in Delaware or Wyoming. They're just going to turn around and be like, it's almost impossible for me to find out anything here because the business protections are the best in those two. Nevada is also another one that you could do, but Wyoming and them have the other thing. What you do is you start a you can either do irrevocable or revocable trust. Revocable dies when you do. Irrevocable moves on when you pass away, right? Very, very, very wealthy people have irrevocable trusts because they have to have a trustee manage all the funds. They are not allowed to manage any money under an irrevocable trust. At least that is the way it's been explained to me. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know 100%, but from what I understand from talking to my dad's trust fund or trust, is that you basically don't own anything, but you get to use everything because you're a part of the trust, right? Same thing with like a revocable trust. The difference is when you own a house or any assets, when you die, if you have a trust, you bypass probate. So there's no probate courts in the middle. The trust can own the businesses, the trust can own all the cars, the trust can own all the bank accounts, they can own everything, and you own nothing. But you get to use everything. So if your trust owns a Ferrari and you want to drive it, well, fuck, I'll just drive the Ferrari that goes in there. Your life insurance policies for your kids, for anybody, if you die, that will automatically go to the trust as the beneficiary. So there's a lot of ways that you can hide money through trust funds. And then you get to keep all the assets. And it's almost impossible to get sued in a trust. Like it's almost impossible to have anything taken out because a trust is a completely separate entity from you, which is a completely separate entity from your laundromat business, which is separate from your storage unit, which is separate from your real estate, which is separate from your apartments. So the way you do it is you just separate every single thing, right? So my house is this, that belongs to the trust. This goes to that. This one house goes to that. This laundromat goes to it. So they own everything, or they control everything, but they don't own anything. So they can't ever have it taken.
Spitting gold here, Russ. I'm very impressed, man. Definitely very impressed with all this. So I think there's so much stuff that we got to just absorb and everything. I just want to thank you for all the educational stuff that you have just spit at us, bro. I am going to go back through this and just like break everything down and take some notes on all this and all. But everybody's been tuning in and they're waiting to hear with you and Ricardo, man. I don't know if Ricardo is still, present. Ricardo, if you are here still listening, let it be known in the chat.
I'll just explain to you. So Ricardo and I went back and forth in groups, and then he sent me emails about he was going to come to New York. And then I was like, listen, you little fuck, you want to come to New York? No problem. Come on down. I was so pissed at him that I literally called two people in Dallas. I was going to give them $100 and ship my signs to them and have them put them in his fucking shit ass place that he bought. Now, I don't know if anybody understands this. I'm gonna rip Ricardo's ass here.
Break it down.
Ready? Okay. So he owns 9 locations. That's what he tells everybody. He owns 9 locations. First of all, Andrew, on your last show that I was on, admitted that he does not own all those. He leases the name out to them, which is the exact same thing I told him. If you go back and look at the comments, he does not own any of them. He leases the junk guy's name, which, by the way, is a really good name. He leases that name for all of them, and then he I think it's $200 a month. Someone told me for his websites, right? So he doesn't make any profit on them. That's just him, puffing his chest and go, look at me, I own 9. No, you don't fucking own 9. You own one shitty ass fucking Craigslist junk removal company in Dallas. Okay,
Russ,
you don't
make this make sense for me. So, what is the benefit that he gets from that? Is that making like his network of like guys
SEO.
that work with him?
You're linking, you got all these names that are all coming back. If you ever go down and look at the end of his websites, the bottom of the websites has like 75 fucking things on there that are all linked to each other, right? So it helps, grow their SEO with all the backlinks and stuff. Again, I'm not an SEO guy, so I've heard backlinks are dead. I don't really know. So he goes out there and he leases the name and then tells everybody he's great. He goes in and he has customers load their own shit. He pisses on fucking on dumpsters. And then the funny thing is he's so good. He's so smart. He charges the same fucking amount for a fridge today, which is $45, as he did 18 years ago when he started. Now, I don't know anybody in the world that has owned a junk company and still pays the same amount of shit. Gas was cheaper, insurance was cheaper, everything was cheaper 18 years ago, but you want to get on here and go, oh, look at me, I pick up all these fridges for $45. You got to it's a half-hour drive anywhere in Dallas, right? What the fuck you going out there for $45? You're making 30 goddamn dollars on it. You're an idiot, first of all. Second of all, he tells you don't need to have nice-looking trucks. Go buy these 4 trucks that I paid $12,000 for. You got 4 fucking trucks because they're breaking down every goddamn week. They're shit, right? The whole fucking thing is it just falls apart. Then he goes out and he's like, look at me. I just did this $40,000 clean out with 7 other companies. It's because you don't have the cojones or the knowledge or the money to buy the fucking equipment to go out and do it. You have to team up with little fucking crackhead Carson, who goes out there and he's like, oh, look, I'm going to go out there with you and we're going to go and have a good time. Look at Carson over here. Oh, I know everything. You don't know shit, right? You get on here and you tell everybody the way to do it because you have 16,000 followers on YouTube. So you somehow think that you're the best. He then went out and had this amazing junk expo that he did, his junk mastermind that he had in Dallas. And he pushed this for months. It's going to be in March. This is going to be the hottest thing in the world. 15 people showed up, paid $150, and 8 of them were his own fucking people that he leased the name to. Right? And then he made memes of everybody sleeping because he was out showing them a good time with Corona and fucking barbecue beer, that they were sleeping in the goddamn thing, right? And then he put, oh, this is Russ Burry's morning meeting. And then he went out there and had guys who I do more in 2 months than these guys do in a year. And they're shit talking me like they know what they're doing. He has no idea. Don't get reviews. You don't need reviews. What the fuck you don't need reviews for? Obviously, you don't get 22 and 18 years. You're a dipshit. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I mean, he's never, then he gets on here, and this was the best the last time he was on your show, and he goes, yeah, I think Shit Nugget over there asked him, I'll give you $100,000 to buy your business if you want to get out of it, right? You remember when Shit Nugget said that? And then all of a sudden, he goes, no, I wouldn't do it for $100,000. What number would it be? I think I'd have to get $500,000. Now, I've been in business a long fucking time. If you own 9 locations, 37 trailers, and you're breaking in millions in revenue, you're not worth $500,000. You're worth 7 figures. But you're willing to take $500,000 for an empire that does millions of dollars? No, because you're not fucking doing it. There isn't a person that would buy that business for less than a crack pipe and a $10 heroin bag. It is terrible. And then let's just get into his haunted houses. This is even better. He made, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to do the math here real quick. So he made in his videos $900,000 in 1 month doing his haunted houses, right? Now, no one knows what he's charging everybody, and no one knows his hours, but let's just play a game, okay? $20 a person, right? At $900,000 in a month, he's got to pump through 45,000 people in 1 month at $20 a person to hit the number he set. Now, if you do the math and you divide that by 30 days, he's got to pump 1,500 people every day, 7 days a week through this fucking thing to make 900 grand. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think anybody's coming to look at a fucking haunted house at 3 a.m, 5 a.m, 7, 8, 9, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning,
big
right?
Parking lot is what I'm thinking too.
Well, you need a big parking lot, but let's just do
enforcement.
Nobody goes and looks at a haunted house until after 7 o'clock at night. And let's just say that you open till midnight, 5 hours a day, 35 hours a week for 4 weeks. It's 140 hours. You would have to pump, I think, 11 people a minute to go do your fuck. There's no fuck. The guy talks like an idiot. Okay, you're not pumping $900,000 in haunted houses from free refrigerators that you picked up for $45 in a building that just burned down because the whole fucking roof was missing. Like, you go out there, look at the building I bought for my new headquarters. It's missing a roof. It's fucking flooding in here. When it rains, everything gets ruined, and then all of a sudden, it burned down. Oh.
What do you think the insurance is on that with all those employees they said he has, and
None.
the workers' comp on that?
None. He don't pay fuck. You go back to some of his other videos. He would just give and it was actually kind kind of cruel. I didn't like it the way that he was doing it. But basically, he was like, "Oh, I just give the medal to the illegals so that they can just take it back because I don't even want the medal, right?" And then he gets on here and he brags, right? If you go back and watch his videos, and he talks about, "You see this 40-yard container that I have on my property? I filled that up this week." Is that a fucking accomplishment? That's 2.5 trucks, you dipshit. You the whole week you're out there going, "I filled up this 40-yard container one time." That's how you do it. You're a dipshit. Because anybody in their right mind would know you don't load it at the house, go back to your yard, unload it, and put it in a dumpster that you're paying more for. You would just drive it to the fucking landfill and hand unload it because you got to do it anyway. I'll just give you an idea, Ricardo, since you're listening. I filled up 7 40-yard containers in the last 2 days. Okay? So when you tell me that I don't know what I'm doing and you go out there and nobody knows me like you like to say, I would venture to guess by looking at the comments, and I can't see how many people are in this right now that are watching. 31. That's more people watching me on YouTube than drove their ass or flew their ass to Dallas to listen to you talk for 2 fucking hours, you dipshit.
Now, Russ, I want to ask you this, man. Can you say something nice about Ricky?
Junk Guys is a good name.
Okay. Now, do you believe in all the success that he talks about over his 18 years and all?
Do you? Does anyone? I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, what success have you had? You've never shown a P&L, or you've never shown your sales. And by the way, that was the other thing too that I wanted to remind me, JT and the PL, because he said that none of the big dogs will show their PL. Just so you guys know, your P&L is going to be more profitable as an owner-operator than it's ever going to be as a multi-truck job like mine. So when JT comes out and says he's making 85 to 90%, that's only taken into effect. He has no labor because he's not paying anybody to do it. He doesn't have comp insurance and everything else. So as a single owner-operator, you're going to have a better PL than me. But in the process, where I am, my profits will be more than his sales this year. So there is a big difference between your P&L when you're new and your P&L when you're older and you're more established. So I just wanted to tell him that, yes, he's going to beat me on a P&L because his expenses, and he's going to show a higher profit margin, but it's a numbers game. And if I'm making 20% at 400,000, that's only 80 grand. But if I'm making 20% at $1 million, that's, you know what I mean? That's 200,000. So it's all relative to numbers, but that was just my thing about that.
Russ, if you were in Texas and you were in Ricardo's area,
I'd bury him.
You'd bury him?
I'd bury him. I would bury him, and I would try to find a spot that was a public spot that my daughter just commented. Thanks, Angelina. My daughter just commented.
Thanks, Angelina. Thank you.
Russ is on fire for real.
That's right.
So what I would do is I'm that asshole that I would park my truck across the street from him every fucking day. And I did it to Got Junk. They pissed me off. I literally signed every single corner on the way to their place, and I did it over and over and over again. I'm the dog that'll piss on your fire hydrant and let you know I pissed on your fire hydrant, and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't care.
Could you imagine these two in the same area going, oh, let's even make it more spicy. Let's throw Andrew in there and put
neither one of them would have a chance.
That would be a show right there, bro. Let's go start a show. We start them at the very beginning. They get $100K each, and let's go see who builds the biggest one.
They're done. I'd smoke them in 6 months. They'd be out of business. I'd bury them.
So you're saying you'll bury Andrew too?
Yeah, so I'll give you the gist on Andrew and why he thinks I'm dog shit or I talk a lot of shit and all this other stuff. So if I was dog shit, Andrew, I wouldn't be kicking your ass in sales. Now I'm gonna
no, hold on, Russ. Before you go off, I just want to let you know one thing. I do got to say this for Andrew. Andrew does not want the drama with you. He called me up and he wanted to see if we could mediate and squash it. He's down to, I just wanted to let you know that it's not the same as Ricky.
Yeah, because, well, it kind of is, because he got together with Ricardo and they were trying to do a bunch of shit. And they were trying to, get me to box is what it was. And what happened is me and Andrew talked, and we actually got along. And he would ask me and I would ask him, and we would talk back and forth, and I'd give him advice when he started and everything else. And then it got to the point where he sold his business and got into autopilot and all this other shit, that he was trying to do promotions at Matt's first junk expo of me and him boxing. And I was like, listen, I'm not a boxer. I don't know how to box. I'm not going to get in shape for a box. But what it was is the way that they were doing, and he brought it up more than once. So it wasn't like he made a post, hey, maybe we should have a boxing match. And everyone was like, oh, that's great. And that was the end of it. It was weeks long. He kept pushing this and pushing this and pushing this. And I got to the point, I was like, listen, man, don't use my fucking name. Don't use my likeness. Don't use anything to try to promote what you're trying to do to get people to show up so you can give away a free $10,000 dump trailer so everybody can sign up for autopilot. I don't want to be a part of it. Don't use me in any of that, right? So then it got into his business. And if you look at a lot of his YouTube videos, it's 90% of what everybody else has been saying in the game before he even got here. He asks a lot of questions of the people who have been in the business. He then takes that knowledge, turns it around, and spins it off as something that he knows. He doesn't know shit, because if he did, he wouldn't have made the mistake that he made and then said, well, I was just starting a business. I had no idea I needed workers' comp. When he goes out there and he tells everybody that he's a serial entrepreneur and he's done this before. So if you've owned businesses before, genius, you would know that workers' comp is mandatory to have if you are having employees. Now, if you're an owner-operator, you're not required to have it because you're not going to sue yourself. But here is the problem. When you do shit like that and you go, well, I was just learning and I didn't know I needed fucking comp insurance, can you really take anything the guy says at face value? Because if you just started a business and didn't realize that you needed workers' comp, most of what you've done after that is probably bullshit too, right? So let's just take his business, okay?
One thing I do got to say, though, I got to say this for Andrew. Andrew's, I think, MO is, his famous line that I've taken was working in the gray area. No, that Toodles, I love that too, but I love the working in the gray area, because that hits home when he says that. That's usually when he's telling you something that he really shouldn't be telling you. So
he's telling you, well, I work in that gray area, which means I'm doing it illegal, right? Let's just cut the bullshit. We know what it means, right? I work in the gray area. That means I'm not legal. Okay, just fucking say what it is, okay? But I'm going to take his business, okay? So I'm gonna just say what he has used in his spiel. I was a successful junk removal owner. I did 7 figures in my first year. First of all, you're in Los Angeles County, where there's about 9 to 10 million people, okay? That you can do because you have so many people that it's not hard to get to $1 million in the first year. You know how we got there? I spent 30% of my revenue on advertising on Google Ads. So let's just take $1 million, wipe out 300,000 right on his out of the box. He did $700,000, right? You got dump fees on $1 million at 10%, that's $100,000. You got 5% in gas, that's another $50,000. You got all your credit card fees, or maybe he wasn't taking credit cards and just, cash, or taking his checks to a check cashing place. Who knows, right? So you have your dump fees, you're going to rip out another $150,000. So you're already gone $450,000 out of $1 million, right? And you haven't done any repairs on your car. You haven't wrapped the car. You haven't paid for your cell phone. You haven't paid for your GL, nothing, right? So let's just say at the end of the day, he was making 25%, right? Because that's on $1 million with multiple people and him using answering services and people from the Philippines and the VAs and all the bullshit that he says he uses, right? I was hands off. I didn't answer the phone. I didn't do any of that. But all of the YouTube shorts show me loading shit into trucks because I didn't do it, right? You're full of shit, okay? So you're at $250,000 EBITDA earnings. Now, if nobody knows what EBITDA earnings is, there's 3 different types of profit. There is going to be your gross profit, which is going to be after all of your expenses. You're going to have your EBITDA earnings, which is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, right? That is what you're going to be bought on. What that EBITDA earnings is what your offer is going to be, okay? And then you have net profit, which is after the government bends you over and rips your fucking prostate out and steals your money, okay? So there's 3 different types of profit. EBITDA is what you get bought on. Now, let's say that I made $250,000 on $1 million because I did 25%. And then all of a sudden, I sold that business for $225,000. So you sold a business for less money than you were making in the very first year that you ever did junk removal. I don't know. That seems red flag number one, right? Next red flag is when you sold that business, they included all of your equipment buying in there too. So out of that $225,000 that you sold your business for, with the trucks and the trailers, they likely gave you 50 grand towards your equipment. So you sold $1 million company that was making $250,000 profit for essentially $175,000. Now you're going to have to pay tax on that $175,000. So at the end of the day, when you sold your seven-figure business for $225,000, you likely walked away with $80,000 plus the cost of the equipment you bought. Is that really someone that you need to go out and idolize in the business? I will tell you that I have been offered to be bought 3 separate times. The highest amount that I was offered was $680,000, and I said no. Okay? No, I'm not doing it. I don't want to sell the business because my revenue is, 23%. I'm not going to bullshit. It's 230,000, 220, 230, somewhere in there, plus resale money, which doesn't count, plus scrap, which is $40,000. So all in, I'm about 275 a year profit on the business. But that also doesn't include my salary or my wife's salary. So if I took all of that into consideration, I'm north of 350 to 400. Okay. So it's not something that I'm willing to sell for $680,000 because that's a year and a half. Most of the businesses in junk removal businesses right now are being bought at about 2 to 4 times EBITDA earnings, depending on how well you're doing. There's some private equity guys that are in there. They bought Cade Swallow. There's a couple other ones that are out there, and they're paying like 3 to 5x EBITDA earnings, but they want a management structure in place.
How many years does the business have to be running for you to get to see those returns?
I mean, they're going to want 3 years. They're going to want to see. They're not going to go out there in 1 year because you can't replicate it, right? And the problem is that anybody who's buying a business post COVID, you're kind of fucking yourself because during COVID, everybody made money. I mean, when you're pumping $1,000 a week into people, they want to move, they want to clean their basement, they got a new furniture, they got a new car, they got to clean out the garage to park the fucking new Mercedes they can't afford in it, right? So all of those things were working for us during COVID, and most of us blew up during COVID. Then they all started going out and making these videos. And now everyone's like, oh, fuck, I can do that. No, I'm telling you now, the economy is dog shit. No one is moving. There is no transactions happening. You look at the furniture stores, they're down. Most of the franchises across the country, Kevin Hess could probably speak to this, and I know just from talking to people who work at other franchises, most of the franchises are down 20 to 30% year over year. Okay. So they're all getting crushed right now because the economy is so bad and there's nothing you can do about it. So when you go out and you start, you can grow in the first year, 2 years, 3 years, and then you're going to plateau. If you don't start pumping money into your business, you're not going to get any farther. You're going to go down because there isn't as much work as there is now. And then everybody goes out there and sees these guys making $1,500 in 3 hours. And they're just like, oh, I'm going to get into junk removal. And then they sell their trucks in 6 months.
And we'll be buying them up. So
yeah,
everybody keep an eye for those new ones that are buying those nice brand new NPRs.
Take advantage. Take
on my list.
Take advantage.
Well, the cheap way to do it is you buy a used NPR, and then when you go to upgrade, you just buy a chassis. You buy a new 2025 chassis, and then you move the box over to the new chassis because the box movement's only $5,000, but a box will cost you 20 to 25. So you can take your old box and move it to a new chassis and save yourself 20 grand.
Love it. Hell yeah.
I figure though, even if you do buy a used dump truck, say it's from 1-800-JUNK or the other guys or whatever you buy a dump truck for, and you pay this money for it, but you've been using it so many years now, right? And it takes a shit on you. Oh well, look how much money you made already. Who gives a fuck? Go buy another one now.
Well,
that's
so
how I see it.
I'll give everybody a tip too on this when you're buying trucks, okay? Do not buy a Chevy between 2015 and 2019 and use it for junk removal. And I'm going to tell you why. There's actually a class action lawsuit against Chevy right now because they knew that there was a problem with the transmissions. Okay. And so what's happening is all these transmissions are failing because they're in this cycle between 2015 2019. You can go look it up. They actually the class action lawsuit just got passed through federal law. So they're going to be going out there and now they're going to get a class action lawsuit to sue Chevy because they knew the transmissions are bad. The reason I know this is because I replaced the transmission in my 2017 Chevy GMC in Florida. I replaced the 2019 Chevy transmission in my 2019 Isuzu, and my wife's 2019 Tahoe has what they call a converter shutter, which the transmission's going to go in that, but I'm just driving it till it fucking blows up because I'm not going to put $6,000 in it. I got AAA in another car. I'll pick her up. So, but yeah, 2015 to 2019 Chevy anything with the Chevy transmission. I think it's an L6L or 60L or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
You can Google it, but yeah, I would stay away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. I gotta write that down for sure.
Straight knowledge for all you guys out there. This guy is dropping those gems. And
Yeah, it's because I don't know anything. No one knows who I am.
Russ, do you do coaching or anything for the people in the chat?
I have. I've done it. I still do it. I will tell you that I am very, very specific with it. And I have a real easy way of weeding people out. I won't say what it is, but if anybody wants to coach with me and I seem busy and I missed our appointment, I would highly recommend that you say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. When can we do it again? I really want to get on another call with you." Because what happens is I'll do this to people and I'll just be like, "Oh man, I'm really busy. I'm not going to be able to make this call," because I want to see what their commitment is. I want to see how much do they really want to learn? How much do you really want to do? And a lot of people who have done stuff with me or taken any of the classes that I've put on have all done well. I don't know if you saw the video that Rob Saylor just put up. It was in the group for like 10 hours, had 1,300 views, and then all of a sudden he took it down because he just doesn't like doing cameras. But it basically was he took one of our courses, he listened to me, and it was a 2-day or a 2 4-hour course or 2 2-hour courses, and we covered everything: sales, marketing, all of that stuff. And he did what I asked, and he just had his first $10,000 month. He went from part-time to full-time.
I did see that video.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's, and again, the one thing that I can tell everybody about coaching and mentoring, if you want to do it, listen to the guy that you're going to. Don't go to the guy and pay him to blow smoke up your ass because they don't want to do it. To JT's point before, when he said, "I'm taking time out of my life to help you. I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart. Don't be a dick because then I'm going to charge." And now I charge. And honestly, I'm dirt cheap compared to what I pay. I paid $1,500 a month. I charge $350 a month, and it's 2 phone calls a month. That's it. I don't charge. Huh?
I said, there you go, guys.
It's listen, for less than $4,000 in 1 year, I could coach you the entire year. Now, here's the thing. There's other guys in there that are, there was another one that was on your show that banned me from the group because he doesn't like anybody competing with him for selling stuff, right? He banned me. And coincidentally, one of the other reasons that I hate Andrew is he told me that he bought that group and he was now the owner of it. And then 2 days later, I was banned and he was like, "Oh, Matt Fitch banned you. It wasn't me because he owns the group." Fuck off. All right. So I don't know Matt, but I know he's banned just about every single person who does coaching or who can help people or anything else because he just tries to own the market and he doesn't want anybody in, which is what I would do if I owned Facebook groups in cities. I wouldn't let any other hauler in because I obviously want to be the one that everybody goes to. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I understand the logic of it, but I frown upon it because what the fuck, if you know everything. And he sold his business. He's, let's just go through the list, right? And I'm not shitting on anybody. I'm just telling everybody what the real thing is here, okay? So Kyle Landeweer did $1 million, and now he's a guru, right? No one even knows who he is, and anybody who's taken his course realizes it's bullshit.
But he sold with the Lambos and the Ferraris and all.
Yeah,
that?
He rented a Lambo.
Yeah.
So he's the one that. So you got him. Matt Fitch sold his business after doing $1 million, and he sold his business for multiple 6 figures. You have Andrew, who sold his business for multiple 6 figures. You have Sky Lane, who did the same thing. Sky, I don't know Sky, so I can't say anything about him. I'm not going to say anything bad. He seems like a genuinely good guy. And he has no malice. He's not lying. I haven't really followed him much, but he seems like he knows what he's talking about. The rest, they're in it to just make money, and I think it's a scam. I don't coach people who don't want to work. I don't coach or mentor people who decide not to do anything. It's not something I want to do. You're wasting my time. Don't put me on the phone for 2 hours and not do anything I ask you to do. I'm not in it for the money. You know what I mean?
And I got a perfect example. So kind of like that in the arm wrestling world, one of the famous like legends is this guy Bob Brown, and he's the same way as you, man. He don't want his time waste. He's got a very nice life going on and all, but everybody wanted to be coached from him because he was the guy that coached John Brzezinski, who was like the best arm wrestler to ever live, and they made Over the Top about him. So he's seen me come into arm wrestling, and he's seen the passion and everything, and he actually hit me up one day and he said, yo, listen, he goes, just like you said, he goes, I know you're the real deal. Anything you say, you're going to follow through. He goes, it's not about not wanting to coach people. He's like, I just don't want to waste my time, teach them something. And then it just goes in one ear out the other.
And then they blame you. They say, oh, well, he wasn't a good coach because I didn't get to where I was. Well, if I tell fucking Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball 100 yards and he can't throw the ball 100 yards, then is that the coach or is that the guy that's doing the fucking throwing of the ball? Right. Yeah. So, and the thing is you have to want it more than anything else. And you have to not fucking quit. And you either have it or you don't. I don't care. I can't teach it. I can't give it to you. You can't buy it. You can't pray for it. You either are born with it or you don't.
100% agree with that. 100%.
You either have it that you're going to. If my mom came back from the dead and was in a wheelchair and started a junk removal company, I would try to push her out of the wheelchair company and win. I am obsessed with it. I will not lose, and if I am losing, it ain't by much, and it's because I haven't learned yet. But once I do, that's the difference. There's a lot of guys on here that talk the talk but refuse to walk. And my wife and I, we will go out on a Sunday at 5:00 if we have to for the right amount of money. If it's a $500 full truck, we'll go out on a Sunday. We understand the business is what fuels our life. So at least I do. My wife not so much.
You have to eat, sleep, and shit this, and that's just it. And as Paulie is starting to see, you really have to put your time in this business, and you just have to watch it grow. But you got to put that hard work in, and you better put your pride to the side.
Every second of that day, bro, since I started January 15th, even 6 months before that, just with learning and, every second I'm waking hour, I am focused 100% that I'm even like, not paying attention to my other businesses as much, you know what I mean? And I still gotta, the other day I kind of sneaked up on everybody. I seen Kevin was saying that, and that's why I said under Kevin, I was like, I am the king of sneaking up on people. People think I'm on vacation going to another state just so I could pop in and see what everybody's doing when they think I'm away.
Well, it might happen in my Florida location. I might just show up there and be like, hey guys, how's everything going down here? I didn't tell anybody I was here. How's everything going? But
I used to do that all the time. Yep.
And a lot of people, they want to get off the truck, and they, that's, the big deal. Like you want to get off the truck. You don't want to be on the truck the whole time. And people want to know, like, you have 2 locations. How can you be in 2 places at once? And my Florida location literally runs without me. I give them the work. I pay the bills. I answer the phone calls. That's it. They do the work all day long. They go to the bank. They deposit all the money.
So they, a general manager? How do you work that out with that?
Yeah. So the guy that runs it, was working for me in New York. And then when we opened up there, he was already planning to go with his girlfriend in January. And he said, oh, I can go earlier. I said, okay. And then all of a sudden Hurricane Ian hit, and he was like, I can go now. So we sent him down there with a truck. And coincidentally, the 5th truck I bought, I wrapped it, but I didn't wrap the phone number. I only lettered the phone number because I said, if I have to move this truck to Florida, I need to be able to pull the numbers off and just redecal the numbers for a local number, because no one's going to call a New York number for down there, right? So that was coincidentally what we did. We sent him down there with that, and it was him and his girlfriend that started it. I was down there a week later, and this is how passionate I am about it. And when you don't know something and you learn it out of nowhere, I was like, oh, they got a hurricane. I'll just get a hotel room. I'll get a hotel room. I'll rent a car, and I'll just stay there for a couple weeks and everything else. And then you start to realize that you're 2 hours away from where you're at because every hotel has been booked, because all the FEMA workers, all the out-of-state people. So I literally, this is no, like, God strike me dead. This is exactly what happened the day I went to Florida. I delivered a dumpster at 12 o'clock. I was getting on a plane at 5 o'clock to fly to Florida. I had no house to live in. I had no car to live in. He was at his girlfriend's house, so I couldn't stay there. He was at his girlfriend's parents' house. I said, fuck it, I'll figure it out when I got there. I dumped the dumpster off at this guy. I look, he's got a Florida plate. I go, hey, James, how's it going? Here's your dumpster. I said, oh, I see you're from Florida. He's like, yeah. He's like, my area just got hit by Ian. I was like, no shit. I'm getting on a plane right now and going down there. He's like, where are you staying? I'm like, I ain't got nowhere to stay. I figured I'd just get a hotel. He's like, nah, man, you stay at my house. I was like, what the fuck? I just met you for 2 minutes. I don't know who the fuck you are. And this is why I believe in divine intervention 100%. He goes, you can stay at my house. I was like, nah, man, I'm good. He was like, no, man, I ain't even there. I'm out 10 months out of the year. Y'all can stay there for free. You helping me and my neighbors and everything. And I was like, are you fucking serious right now? Because I'm out of options. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, I'm dead serious. There's a frog in the front yard. Flip the frog over. The keys to the house are right there. I'm like, how much you want for rent? He's like, I don't know, $200 a month. I was like, dude, I'll give you $1,000. I pulled $1,000 out. I gave it to him. Got on a plane. I'm flying there. I ain't got no ride there. You can't get a car, right? So I'm like, where the fuck am I going to go? On the plane, the guy sitting next to me is from a town 10 miles from me. He's moving to the place that I'm going to. And I was talking to him and I was like, yeah, I'm going there. He was like, dude, I'll give you a ride to the house. He's like, I literally got to go right past it. I was like, I'll give you a ride. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I was like, dude, I just got on a plane 5 hours ago. I had no place to live. I had no ride. I get off the plane. I've got a place to stay. I've got a ride to where I'm going. I'm like, what is going on here? And so I truly believe that divine intervention will push you in the direction that you want to go. And if you're feeling something that you should do, do it. Just jump. Fuck it. Don't be afraid. Just go. What's the worst that happens? You go back to fucking waiting tables or whatever job you had before.
Amen.
Just do it.
The Russ Burry testimony.
For
That's
real,
what
man.
Honest to God truth. Honest to
Yes,
God
sir.
truth, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on tonight, bro. This was just an amazing. This was definitely our longest show, but I mean, it was just so packed with so much stuff, man. So we're definitely gonna have to have you on very soon again, brother, because yeah, there was just so much to take in.
Yes, sir. So many gems dropped today.
Yeah,
Guys,
whenever.
if you guys haven't already, please make sure to hit that thumbs up for me. And if you're not subscribed, please make sure to subscribe. Also, get over to No Limit Hauling. Go hit up Mr. Yee's channel over there. He's putting out killer content on the truck every day, keeping the energy up. So get over there, subscribe over there. Russ, where can they hit you up on? What social media platforms? YouTube? Name them all for us, please.
I don't have social media, so I don't do a lot of that stuff. I mean, I have Facebook, so everybody can find me in the groups, or you can search my name. If anybody's interested, I do have the tap cards. You can get these. I'll send them to you. They're $15 each loaded. Kevin's got some, and I think I've sent them to like 100 different haulers. They work real well. So if you want those, you can DM me. If you want to go to my YouTube channel and actually learn stuff, I'm not going to go up there and just say, oh, look, I do have a couple videos of like, hey, I made $3,000 in 6 hours, but there's like 2 of them. The rest of them are mostly informative stuff about how to figure out your average job sale, how to figure out your COGS, how to figure out your future ad spend. If I spend this much, how much am I going to get out of it? How many, there's a lot of informational stuff on there, insurance stuff and all of that. It's a real good way for new haulers to go out and learn stuff because I just put it all out there. And it's all free. It's the same stuff that I would teach you in a class or the same stuff that people pay me for. And it's literally on YouTube. You can just go there. 7-Figure Junk Removal is the channel.
Yeah, and I've been following it from the beginning. Just learned so much stuff over there, and you guys could see Russ is very straightforward. Ain't no fluff. He's telling it right how it is, and I respect that about him. He's got that New York swag. Loving it, bro. Well, thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in, and let's see that gun show before we call it a night. Flex them. Come on, Russ, what you working with over there, baby?
My guns go the other way. My guns go down, not up.
Watch out now.
I have bicep tendonitis and 2 shoulders that need rotator cuff surgery.
Russ, that's my other business, brother. Stem cells. We'll talk after this. Yeah. I got I'm all hooked in on stem cells, and I'm about to be opening up a clinic actually in New York, bro. I'm actually going to be doing that in the next year as well. So we'll get in touch. I could help you out with that for sure. Yeah, Thank you guys for everybody tuning in. And we will see you guys on Friday. Remember, we got Forget About It Fridays Unfiltered. It's going to be hitting 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. We are keeping secret right now who the guests are going to be, or guests. So just tune in the next couple of days. We'll be dropping that bomb as well. So thank you again for everybody tuning in. Have a great night, everybody.
Yee.
See ya.